During its inception, one group of players played a huge role in establishing Oceanic competitive League of Legends. Initially we were known as Team Immunity, but more widely known as the Chiefs. My teammates Swipr, Spookz and Raydere are considered legendary players in the region, with 4 of us having played on the same roster for over 3 years straight. Since then, we've all gone down very different career paths, but our longtime manager Sangy managed to catch 3 of the OG squad together for a quick trip down memory lane.
Welcome everyone, thanks for joining me on this call. It's been a while since I've seen all of you guys together. So between the 3 of you guys, there's 11 OPL championships, tons of experience, a lot of fun, a lot of shit that went on in the last few years. But yeah, I thought it'd be good to sort of catch up, especially when everyone's kind of stuck at home, even though we're doing different things. Yeah, just sort of reminisce and talk about the good old days. So, Derek, one of the questions I get asked the most by everyone is, what is Raydere doing these days?
I'm working. I'm working as a stock and options trader. So,
wait, can you say that again, please?
I'm working as a stock and options trader.
Oh, stock and options.
So in finance, I'm working in
okay,
finance.
okay.
Basically, that's just basically the gist of it, and it's pretty much what I spend most of my time doing. 50 hours a week.
Do you still play League?
50 hours.
Yeah, occasionally.
What rank are you?
Fuck. Let's not go there.
It's somewhere in the diamond. I'm a little holdover.
I think I decayed to plat. I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna check right now. I'm gonna literally check right now.
You do pretty good though. And, like every now and then I hover over your name and you're like around diamond 2, diamond 1. So like you do alright.
It's not the same.
No, whenever
it's not the same not being rank 1.
Wait, Derek, I have a question. So do you work 5 10-hour days, or do you work 5 10-hour days? What's the time frame looking like?
8 to 6.
8 to 6.
No, because sometimes you have to wake up at like crazy hours to do trades like in different countries and stuff, right?
No, there's other people that will be in charge of that.
Right, okay.
So the firm's internationalized enough.
Yeah, nice.
Derek,
nice.
my stocks are struggling. I'm down some
Get ahead.
cash.
Are you down on Robinhood? Are you down on Wall Street bets?
I'm down on both. I'm down in a lot of places. It's alright.
No,
Just give your money to Derek, mate.
No, that's what I was thinking, Derek. I'll hit you up after this, alright, bud?
I get asked the same thing. Like I always get asked like what Derek's doing, and I always just say he's a lawyer. So now I can help.
Close enough.
I give some context. So
Yeah, no, because every time I say, "Oh yeah, he's a trader," everyone's like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh no, he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer."
No, your title's a bit of a mouthful, but
You have to explain it, and I can never be bothered. I just say I work in finance.
Alrighty. Yeah, let us know all your positions, mate, and then we'll just follow it. So. Okay, so Sammy D, mate.
here
Warriors, nice. I see the Warriors merch. You got a rep.
I thought I'd represent
Hashtag ad.
the org.
Yeah, so you've moved to the US for the past year. What's that been like? What have you been doing really for Golden Guardians?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting year, certainly. I think back. So I left Australia in December, and I went to Seoul for like a boot camp with FBI and Keith, who were like learning ball lane together. And then I went from Seoul to the US, and then Corona happened, and then we were like quarantined fully. And then there was like the rioting. So it's been a bit action packed. I remember, I mean, the whole time I've been mainly occupied by like coaching, and like this year's been like such an insane experience because I've learned a lot, like about myself, but also like a lot about the game. I think like after playing for so long, I definitely felt like as a player my ego got in the way, and like I couldn't really learn much about the game. But having like a different perspective as a coach, I feel like I've learned so much more about the game. And then it kind of makes me like regret how I was as a player, but I feel like I wouldn't have been able to have the same like perspective, you know, if I didn't have this year. So
well, you picked a pretty interesting year to move to the US. So
yeah, I mean, this year has been fucking crazy. I remember like in between splits, like split 1 and split 2, it was like me and Aaron. We were in like our house had no aircon, and it's really hot in California, and we just like I can see his room, like he's like imagine like his room's just over there, and our doors are open, and we're just like sweating it up in like a 40-degree house playing Civilization. Like we're both in our undies eating like noodles out of a hot like a pot every day, and that's what we did for like 2 months. And it was the most like lonely, like depressing experience, but it was pretty funny. I think we were both both so depressed that we would just look at each other and laugh like literally like 5 times daily. But I mean, yeah, it's been up and down for sure. But
Do you think you would coach again? Like, do you know what you'd do next year?
oh yeah, I mean, I'm definitely coaching next year.
Just gonna keep coaching? You wouldn't
Yeah,
play
yeah.
ever again?
No. I don't think like honestly, like now that I've worked with like really talented players as well, it's like fuck, dude. Like I can't be fucked. Like these guys are. Wait, I'm allowed to swear, right?
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. These guys are like working with like Closer as an example as a jungler, and he's got a lot of raw talent, and I just like watch him play like from behind, like his perspective, and I'm just like, there's no hope for me, you know? Like these guys are insane. So I can't even imagine what it's like in like LEC and LPL as well with some of these guys. So I have no plans to return.
Fair enough.
But do you ever kind of wish that, like, because OCE was, I don't know how you guys feel, but because OCE was always, we always talked about this, or OCE was stuck in its own server, there's only, like, a limit to how many players you can play against and how much talent you can play against.
Yeah.
And if you're at the top of the region, it's so much harder to be a leader than a follower. You're the one stuck trying to innovate, and every time we go overseas, we come back with a bunch of knowledge, like back then. But do you ever feel like if you just got back in and you played against all these really talented players, I definitely think you could. I think all of us could rise above kind of the ceiling we had before, just being.
I think
OCE.
I actually genuinely don't think I could anymore. Like maybe when I was young, like a few years ago. But
I don't think it's a talent thing though.
Oh,
Yeah, no, to me it's like more
it's like
about
daunting. It's so daunting when I watch these guys play. To like think.
But isn't
about.
it fun though? It's like exciting though. It's like, hey, look at all these new players that could kick my ass
Yeah.
that I can play against now, and it's now you can do it on a daily basis as opposed, even though it's demoralizing as hell, but now you can do it on a daily basis instead of waiting twice a year to go internationally, play against all CS teams, and go, oh wow, I never knew that doing this in lane was bad.
yeah.
I guess.
But is NA solo queue even much better though?
It's just like there's just a higher volume of better players. I guess.
It's more like you get to just play against more players in general, right, as well. So like different styles and stuff. Like I find in OS, you just like create habits how to beat this X player. And like you don't like
You're just
there's
playing
only like a few players.
You're just
that
playing
you
around
play against.
M4A1 every game essentially.
Yeah. No, and like just to like wrap up that, I think in a way, and like obviously I haven't been overseas for a while, but it's like I think all of us like in this call, like us three, like we have the brains to be a really good player. It's just like you have to do rigorous practice against like people that are better than you. And I really think that we could get a lot better than like you even think you could, Sam. Just like I just think if you had the drive and the effort to put into it, I think like we're talented enough to like always rise the bar personally. But,
yeah, there's only so much that like culture and work ethic can get you in an environment that doesn't allow that to prosper, you know. So I mean, I think it's and that goes back to like the OS versus OS versus the world discussion as well later that we'll probably have. You know, it's been heating up recently on Twitter, especially with Worlds and a couple of hot takes. So yeah, I think we'll touch on that in a little bit. Dossie, mate, 12th season in the OPL, done and dusted.
Is it 12 really?
9 grand finals. So that's pretty good. 75% grand final rate.
Yeah. No, I only just realized it recently, but I guess like every year in my career I've always been in at least one grand final, so it's like a cool stat, but like not winning obviously hurts. No, it's been like an interesting year for me. I got to like go interstate and try something else. Obviously there's been some issues with like long distance and like the COVID and stuff, but overall it's been a fun year. I thought after like Split 1 this year, I definitely didn't think I had the roster that was capable of actually doing very well, but it seemed like we turned things around pretty well in Split 2, and we got fairly close. I just think, yeah, it's just not making it sucks, but like every year I sort of end it and like I have fun, and then randomly just like the fire comes again, and I just try and see if I can play another year. So yeah, I mean it's definitely like the take that I'm getting like asked to do a bit at the moment is to coach next year. And like personally, I'm not actually sure if like and like I have asked like Sam this and like even like Carbon and stuff. I've asked some examples of like when do you know when it's right to actually be a coach, and I think the answer is like you actually never know. It's like you always want to play, and like you just need to sort of accept reality when it's time to move on. But in a way, and this is just for me in general, it's like I don't really mind that I'm bad from a global perspective. I just enjoy like winning and the competition, and I guess like trying to win in OS is like something that I really enjoy. And for next year, yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'll either try coaching out, or I actually might try and get over to like a wildcard region or like a academy team just somewhere, and just sort of try my bet overseas somewhere, because I think I ended this year as arguably the best top laner with Tapoon. And that's something that like even last year I don't think I would have said. I think last year I had a really bad year, so it's like, yeah, the fire's still in me. It's just I don't know. I've been doing this shit for quite a while now, so yeah.
I think from my perspective, when I knew to like when I wanted to hang up the keyboard, so to speak, it was definitely when like it was getting to every day I would get to game 4 of scrims, and I was just like, fucking hell, this is such a drag. Like every day, and I was like, I can't be fucked scrimming. And because like ultimately like I'm playing like I was playing like a video game with like people that I was really close to. Like it was like my environment was set up to have like an enjoyable experience, but I was hating it. And I think it's just because I lost like the passion for the game.
Well, because you guys all came from that generation of guys who grew up playing this game for fun first and never having actually played this game with the expectation to go pro. Whereas I feel like a lot of the kids that are coming through these days, like they began when you guys were like at the peak of your careers, and they could see and use you guys as role models and inspirations. Like, okay, this is what I should aim for. This is how I should set my mindset when I play the game. And, you know, it's still difficult for you guys to prac and train and scrim and compete, you know, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but still think, man, like, because you relate it back to your experiences, you know, like back in the day, like just like grinding, like playing NA solo queue together, you know what I mean? Like it must be difficult to make that separation in your head.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I guess on that, it's like I've had that at certain points in my career, but this year especially, and like this is like I had a light bulb moment watching like The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. But it's like honestly,
it's a really good doco.
Honestly, it's like
Oh.
he would like just be obsessed with the small stuff and like the boring stuff in practice, and he would like always play practice just to dominate everyone. And I just found that like I sort of reminisce with that. Like I actually, for some reason, I really enjoy scrims, and I really enjoy like playing the really boring shit like the tanks and stuff, just because I think it'll help me win OPL. And I guess like that drive, I guess for me personally, hasn't gone away, but I do see it in a lot of players, even players on my roster this year, like come out and like tell me that, well, I really didn't enjoy scrims as much as I should have. And what I would say to them as well is just, yeah, I guess it's probably time to end it. But I don't know. I just like really enjoy practice and stuff. It's really weird. Like I'm just like, I don't understand why I still enjoy it after all these years.
But you go through waves, right? Like there are times before, like Sam as well, where when you played in your career, like you might go through like a 1 month period where everything is shit, everything sucks.
Yeah.
I hate practice so much, and then something will click in your head, and then you'll just come back and be like, okay, I can play 12 hours a day now, no problem.
No, I guess
it's
that's
fun.
right. Yeah. No, I definitely do go through phases.
And
I
just
think
kind of
it's based off performance for me as well. Yeah. Like when I'm not playing well, I seem to like get really demotivated, and then I'll randomly just see a VOD or something, and it'll just click. So no, that's true.
I think what I always found that like whenever I get into a dump, it like in my play, it's something that it's somehow I've always narrowed my play to like into like a bubble, and then it's just I've just really stuck on playing one way, and then it doesn't work or it's not that effective, and then and then something will burst my bubble, and I discover a new way to play, or something just like a new champion or something, and then suddenly your just passion for the game comes back, because like once your bubble bursts, the possibilities are endless, and discovering these possibilities are always what was fun when you first started playing. You're like, oh, look at all these new champions, new play styles. After you play so long, it feels like the game is solved and you're doing the same thing over and over again. And especially if you're playing against the same people over and over again. So, that just for me, I found that helped reignite my passion for the game. Like, if you suddenly went from playing tank top laners to carry top laners, I reckon you'll, find a way to enjoy the game, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let's get back into let's wind it back. Let's go back in time. Okay, before I start, it's so depressing, like seeing everyone together because you guys have like such a narrow heads. I just got this big ass head, like.
Nah, dude, I'm like getting real squishy now, so it's like I'm with you.
It's like
I think it's the headphones.
Like
it makes our heads all look
Sam,
small.
like the narrowest, like sharpest jawline, and then like DOS, Derek, and I'm just a fucking basketball man.
Okay, no, Frank, like, I wasn't gonna laugh, but you called it. Look, basketball is the right word. And then Dos, you're saying that you have a squishy head. Like, God, these words are these are good.
Squishy head.
Yeah, well, I was doing research like for the podcast, like going back to all the old photos and stuff. Like, you had a big head before DOS, mate, but I think you've definitely had the most change, like in your face, which is like pretty ideal, right? Like for
yeah.
the weight loss and
I
stuff.
don't want to show what my stomach looks like right now, but yeah, I'm happy with anything. I'll take anything.
All right, let's go. Let's wind it back. All right, 2013. Yeah, it's 2013. Riot Season 3 Oceanic Championship. PAX Australia. Yeah, the first PAX Australia ever. Team Immunity versus X5. DJ Norman and Chief Swiffer on one side.
Woo!
Swip3rR and Raydere on the other side.
We should have won those games. That's all I'm saying.
Sometimes.
No,
I feel like you should have won the first game and we should have won the second game,
yeah.
Well,
which we did anyway. But like I remember I think we won the first game off like one moment.
It was
I remember.
Simon threw. I remember.
Was Simon the
threw.
Cassidy first game? Or
okay,
that
yeah,
No, it was the second game. The second game we should have won in like 15 minutes.
No,
but
and then they threw to Simon. Simon got like a pentakill at Baron or something.
On
Yeah.
Kassadin.
Yeah.
Let me
And
explain.
that
Back in these days, there was something that was called the Raydere effect, and it was like no, it was like you would play the game against Derek, and it was like, you know when you're like getting outscaled by like Yumi, and it's just like, you know, in the back of your head that like you're not pushing the pace of the game fast enough, and like you're slowly gonna get outscaled and lose a team fight. You would just have that against Derek no matter what he was playing, and I think that was in Simon's head, like in both games, and like, even on Kassadin, like he's fucking scaling so hard. He has like literally, I think he had like 10 kills that game, but he just choked so hard because he's just like, fuck, Derek's on the other team. And I guarantee you that is why he entered. I just know. I know how Simon worked.
And from being like on Derek's team in that moment, like you had the win con of like he was sort of like, you would get into the game and Derek would just let the flow of the game speak for itself. But if anyone like got behind, you'd hear Derek just say, "Don't worry, boys, just farm, just hit the minions, guys. Don't worry. Like don't group, just hit minions and we'll be alright." Like he'd always just be so reassuring and like. Believe it or not, just like if you got to 30 minutes, like Derek would just be the difference in any game. Like, so it was pretty easy from my perspective, that tournament.
Remember remember Heaven's Cannon build in that game?
Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
I remember he wouldn't build Zhonya's out of spite because he wanted to prove to us that you don't need Zhonya's on cannon. Even as a 5th item or 6th item, you don't need Zhonya's.
Heavens was sometimes really good, but like sometimes he would legitimately make the game 4 versus 5. Like he would try his hardest just to like make the game 4 versus hard.
He's like a really skilled player, but he's emotionally like Simon. So it's something, it's like a mid laner syndrome where they're both really mechanically good at the game, but then for some reason they just flip a switch and be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
It happens to this day still, don't worry. It's
they
a
just
trend.
mentally check out.
Derek was so steamed talking about that he's shaking his webcam.
You have no idea how much agony I've endured over these years.
That's right. We'll be reliving it pretty soon. So
I'm still traumatized from it. Like,
yeah, I think
still shaken.
It's fun that you mentioned the Raydere effect, Sam, because I think there's like 2 groups of like league players, like league fans in Oceania. You know how in religion there's like before Christ, like BC, right, and AD.
Yeah, I see where this is going, but I see where it's going. It's before Derek
and after Raydere. Yeah.
No, it's actually, man. Like
There's-
whenever. Oh, so you go.
No, you go.
No, I was gonna say whenever someone talks about who the greats were in OS, like you really tell like when they join the scene. You know what I mean? Because like if anyone who was here from the beginning, like asked who was like the goat of OS, like you'd always go to Raydere. But like you always get these like newer generation guys that like bring up like King and Churnfire and stuff, and it's just like they didn't feel the type of pressure that like Spookz and Swiffer did in these finals. Like I haven't really felt that ever since, like with like Versa player. So that's sort of like where the debate ends for me.
I think like back then, like because I think back then like there was so much variance in skill that like players really stood out in teams and combos. So like you could get like one player like playing against Sam and Simon in the mid. I'm just like, all right, Pat, like Heavens, if you just as long as he doesn't go emo and play safe, we got this. Just but once you see Simon get like 3 kills on a Cassin, and you're like, oh fuck, and you just like, and he's just like. And you two just like take down mid tower and start roaming around the map. I just have to like struggle and like I remember every time you took down mid and got like 5 kills ahead, I would just have to like bunk it down and find a way to stall the game for 40 minutes before Simon eventually threw the game and I would win in that moment.
We actually always lost. It didn't matter.
And,
like,
and I would just bunk it
game.
down and be like, don't worry, they will fuck up. Just sit at the tower and hold. And they will eventually fuck up, and I will have 5 items, and we'll win the game off that.
Like when I think back to it, it's like it's so triggering. Like, it's so frustrating because like we got so many advantages in so many games against you guys, but we never closed ever. Like we were just always like on this fucking mental timer. Scaling was so irrelevant. Like it was just like this mental timer where we knew we were gonna throw the game and lose.
Yeah.
Oh,
Derek got a system, and everyone stuck to the system.
I think Pat, like think about it. He played Anivia, right? I think. And it was just like, just clear the wave, keep farming. Someone will get impatient. No one knows how to close back then. Someone will get impatient and throw the game.
It's the Derek draft, mate. Draft a mid laner with wave clear, and then
just on farm.
A scaling carry, an AD carry.
I'd always play the Zac or something for Derek and just like farm. I just farm for him. It'll be alright.
And then this was pre-Baron. This was pre like minion Barons. Where you can take Baron and
wait, is it good?
No, the
actually
game
end the
changed
game.
so much actually when you think back then.
Yeah. Like wave clear was so obnoxious back then, and no one knew how to like split properly. So 5v5 ARAMs was just the norm. So having like a wave clearing champion was just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Dos and Derek, after you guys won the Oceanic Championship in Season 3, Wildcards 2013. So this was the first international, like, okay, not the first international tournament. We had a couple. We had the, what is it, like ESWC or something, like way back in the day. But this is the first proper Riot International League of Legends tournament for Oceania, and you guys obviously went with that, world's qualification spot on the line. And I think maybe back in that day, like we probably didn't realize how prestigious that opportunity was. Like talk me through like wildcards. Like there's a bunch of good stories there, Dos. The infamous plain water incident.
Oh yeah. Well,
that wasn't wildcards. That was next trip, wasn't it?
No. It was wildcards.
Because
it was Dos's first ever international trip.
Yeah, well, it was practically the first time I've gone overseas, really, I think. And I don't know, I was just back then, I was very, very young. I was very, like, immature, like, very socially, just wasn't there. So, like, I was just on the plane and just randomly, I was too anxious to sort of press the button and ask for a glass of water. And I was, like, super, super dehydrated. So instead of asking, like, the flight attendant for some water, I went to the bathroom and I drank out of the tap water. And I didn't see, but like in hindsight they have signs everywhere not to drink that water. So yeah, like the first few days there, and it was like super hot. I remember it was like 40 degrees when we were there, and I was just like so unbelievably sick for like 3 days. It wasn't a great experience for me. But yeah, Derek can talk about it.
Yeah, so I mean in groups you guys went 2-2. And yeah, I think we beat Lion and DP, which are like two pretty decent like teams at the time. And then obviously you guys made the bracket stage, and you played GGEU, which is the Russian team. So that was a pretty interesting series, if I recall correctly. I was watching it at the time. What do you guys remember about those two games?
Yeah, you can start, Derek.
I remember, when we came in, we thought we were prepared, and then I think in hindsight, I remember basically their mid laner carried. I think it was Mazarine, if Brandon would agree as well. And what's really ridiculous was we banned all these champions, and then after the tournament, I just looked him up on solo queue, and 70% of it was something ridiculous. I think 60% of his games were Orianna, and 30% was Gragas. And we didn't ban those, and that's all he played. And I'm like, wait, there was this carrying mid laner, and we didn't ban the only 2 champions he plays, and we had 3 bans. And that was first just the dumbest thing that I don't even know if Pain banned it in the finals, but I just I don't know how we did our research, but I just looking players up in solo queue is just the first thing you do when you're trying to research teams, and
yeah,
well, that was kind of dumb.
Honestly, I don't want to disrespect teammates too much, in this, but we Domo was good for his time, but from a wildcards perspective, he probably didn't belong in a wildcard tournament, just from my perspective. And he didn't get insanely jungle gapped. It was more just his impact and ability to sort of adapt in games. I thought Heavens was good, but he just was a troll. And then he would just that series, he was just really emotionally just unstable, and he just got gapped really hard. So
yeah.
I thought that series was one of the easiest series overall if we were just a bit more mentally stable. But we just there's so many of them series where you just lose.
I do feel like we definitely had a decent chance of winning tournament. It was just all these little things that you look back and you're like, oh, if we just didn't do this or just didn't do that, or if we were just a little more did a little more research. But that's what you get for early on pro gaming wildcard, right?
Yep.
People's research isn't that good, preparation isn't that good. It's all very ad hoc.
But it was a great experience overall. We got to meet SK Gaming, and there was a good crowd. It sort of gave the fire, for me at least, and probably Derek, that international gaming is actually a thing, and it's good fun. Because that was the first time I even really watched competitive play, because becoming a pro player was just that Derek asked me to play randomly. It wasn't that I was looking to play or anything like that. It was a lot of insight into competitive league for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. This is I'm pretty keen for some hot takes like this on this this interview. So feel free to say whatever you guys want. But yeah, so I mean, I guess I want to touch on that a little bit. Dos, you mentioned Domo, your jungler during that time. Obviously, this was just before Spookz and Swiffer joined the team. During that tournament, he was obviously outclassed to a degree. And I think we both know that really impacted Heavens, especially going into that series, or just that tournament in general. I remember pretty specifically, pick Lulu mid second game and just face checks into Raptor Bush and dies. I think he just suicide split pushed all game. So that eventually led to the decision to bring Sam and Simon into team immunity. Was that decision made before wildcards? Was it? It was kind of discussed, and the wildcards was the turning point. Because I remember pretty clearly, Simon talking shit in the Lola chat, literally during wildcards.
Oh, of course.
No,
he would.
No, it was so bad, dude. It was so bad. No, but well, there was a tournament that I played before that where I met Sam. It was at Avcon, I think, or something like that. And then ever since then, I sort of wanted to play with Sam from that tournament. And I think going into Germany, I think me and Derek sort of knew that we probably should have tried to get a new jungler. So we talked to little Uber Giants and stuff to try and get him to come with us as well. But that didn't work. And then from my perspective at least, like as soon as we lost, like I instantly like connected the dots, I guess. And like it was like really, really immature at the time, but like we went back to like our green room in like this it was like this box, and it was like I instantly messaged like Sam and Simon, and I remember just like saying, "Will you guys like join our team?" I didn't ask for any permission. Like I probably went against like so many fucking like just contracts or whatever, and it was just like I just asked them like, "Will they join us?" And then like I remember talking to Derek like shortly after, and I can't remember Derek's response exactly, but I think he was like on the similar page. So
I think like what happened was after the tournament, like Heavens said he was going to quit, like he was going to stop playing, and just like obviously like just given these stories, he's once again like he's really impulsive, like emotionally very impulsive, but he was also very like I said, I think he was actually a really talented player, like just mechanically really good. Like I remember in NA I think he hit like top 20 in NA, like back when it was like the front page was a thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was really good, really talented, but he was so emotionally impulsive, and I don't think he spoke a single word in the second game. Like I actually don't think he actually spoke a single word. But he just quit afterwards, and we're like, okay, we need a new mid laner. And then we thought we needed a jungler as well. And from there, it wasn't really that hard to kind of connect the dots and figure out what we're trying to do from there.
yeah. No,
and then Pat, obviously being the impulsive guy he was, just came back.
No, yeah, no. I actually remember like when Pat did say like, I wanna quit. And like at the time, I really wanted Sam at least. Like I really wanted to bring Sam over. And then like when Pat said that, I was like, yes, okay, like this is the move. So
Yeah, because Spookz and Swiffer was a package
they
deal
were a
even back
package
then,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah.
They were not going to
They were
split up.
package, sure.
So,
No,
not until the end.
I remember at the time in 2013, like we spoke to each other, and I think we were like, I think Simon was happy. Like, it wasn't. I don't think it was as much a package deal as everyone thought it was, especially back then, because we hadn't played together that long at that point. I think like a year later, I mean we'll probably get to it. That's kind of when we became like more of a package deal. But that wasn't. I didn't feel like that was such like an in-game thing as much as it was like how close we became as friends and people. Yeah. I mean we'll get to that at some point.
Yeah. I think everyone knew it was a sort of a combination of both. Yeah. All right. So shortly after that, I joined the team. I remember Derek reaching out. I remember me starting with the Wobbly Bears at ACL Melbourne.
Oh yeah.
We beat Sam
we
Simon.
suit still.
fucking
I still remember Frank in his suit. Just
Yeah,
because
because I came from work. I flew down after work. Like I went to ACL. It was just a bunch of like young mechanics kids. Like a bunch of would actually end up doing pretty well. Like later in their careers, like Fantix and Claire and stuff. And then
Was it Shelby?
No, it was Essie.
No, it wasn't Shelby. SC.
Fancy-
There was a jungler. Who was the jungler?
Oh yeah,
It was Wobbly. Wobbles.
Yeah, Wobbles the
Yeah.
bad. Wobbles the
But
cat.
he
No,
couldn't.
Wobbles didn't play.
He couldn't come to Australia. He didn't get permission to
Yeah,
travel
so
to Australia.
we got
Ah,
Essie, and
okay.
then he bought drinks for us all at that after party. Remember?
So I joined shortly after, and then WCG 2013. This was our first big international event together.
Oh, holy fuck, WCG.
Oh my god, I don't want to talk about that.
Dude, was this our first event with Derek?
No,
Yeah, it was.
And
No,
Derek.
no. We had a Melbourne land before it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That was fine. That was easy.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
Oh,
No,
I remember
disrespect to other
Derek
games.
exploding at this fucking.
I got
WCG.
so.
Holy shit.
I was literally about to kill Emperor, and then my screen just like disappeared. And I was like, alright, I'm like, this is it.
No,
I'm
like-
gonna kill this guy. And then my screen just lagged, and then I had like, I don't remember what happened, but then like I just came to it and I was dead. And then I just absolutely lost my shit, and I was just done from there. I was just done. I was like, okay, this.
Alright,
I'm just
so
done
to
now.
provide some context, WCG or World Cyber Games was essentially like the Olympics of esports, like back in the day. Like it was one of like the premier OG international tournaments, and we got invited to go to compete. It was in China at the time, and it was just like the event, like the scale of the event was just like massive, like it was huge. Like it was like they had like an entire, it was like an aircraft hangar like rented out, like all this setup and stuff. But the I don't know why the infrastructure was just so bad. Like maybe because like Chinese league servers were not great back in the day, but it was just
Oh my
laggy
God.
as shit. Like just so insanely laggy. But like this event had like so many insane players playing at it. Like at the time, like CJ Entus, who we eventually played, which we'll get to later. At the time, the Korean team, one of the best teams in the world. They had like Flame, Ambition, like
I
Lustboy
think
on
they
the
were
team.
at that time the best team.
At the
Yeah, we
time,
played
they were
against
the
them.
best team in the world at the time.
Yeah.
And then we had like WE. Who else was at that event? WE, like Messiah, all those guys.
Oh my God! Do you guys
Um,
remember like all the fangirls like following the WE players around? Remember how they had
It
that
was
little
crazy.
like
I remember
food
that.
area, and then like all the WE players had like literally 50 people walking around, and then there was just us, and everyone was just
Like
The crowd would like cheer the moment the Chinese team came on, and then the moment we'd go on, it just silence.
Dude, Messiah was a god. Like that was post Messiah alt Zonyas. And
Messiah,
like
Ways Out, all those guys. Like those guys are just OG, like
yeah.
Chinese League of Legends. Yeah,
in
Do you guys
hindsight,
remember
like,
the TF old Zonyas, the Messiah?
yeah, the Messiah.
oh yeah, no, that was crazy.
That was post that, and he was just like recognized as a god at the time.
In hindsight, like, imagine that actually being a thing today, like where teams have to play on like 100 200 unstable ping in like a proper tournament.
It wasn't.
Like,
It
imagine
wasn't
that
even
existing.
ping though. It was like.
It just cut.
every-
Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
game would cut
Crazy.
every like 10 seconds. It was not. It was actually just
It
not
was
playable.
fucked.
Yeah,
It's
I-
crazy to think
It was
about.
just crazy packet loss.
I actually think we could have beaten Energy Pacemaker if like the game wasn't that laggy.
We were up a lot, right? And then
Yeah.
we siege mid, like mid Innitel. It's actually crazy. Like I remember it. so
And the game
vividly.
I
lagged.
don't
and-
even remember that.
The game lagged. So we
I
played on
remember
the
that
we
game.
played on the side stage, Derek. Remember? And then the game lagged, and the
That was the game you like burst.
and the guy got like a sick Shen stun, and we lost the game because of it.
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
So
at all.
we were sieging.
Wait, was this? Were they playing like Diana or?
No, so we were sieging mid inner tower, and they had Fiddlesticks. And Fiddlesticks just ulted.
Oh yeah, I remember
he
this.
ulted
Yeah,
over like the
yeah.
fat wall and flashed.
Actually, no,
and
I
we just
remember that
all
now.
died.
Yeah, holy shit.
In hindsight, it's like something obviously we should have watched out for, but like
I think we were
there's a
also
Fiddlesticks not on the
tilted as
map.
well.
Yeah.
But Simon was up like 100 CS that game as Ori versus Ari. I remember that was actually I
Yeah.
think that was a classic like Simon game where he was like
It
super
was.
fucking far ahead. And
He has
he's
them
just- he's
so
just-
many times.
Yeah, he's just so
It-
cocky, and he just like, like it's actually, I don't know what was with Simon. He was just like,
He
was
just
so
brain
He
farts.
was
He just
Derek and
brain
Simon.
farts.
I remember there was a time like Derek and Simon, even against international teams, you would press tab, and like I think it was the same for DOS. Like you would reliably press tab, and Simon and Derek would be up 30 CS every lane phase. Like you wouldn't even do anything. Like I mean, like player gap was like, as Derek mentioned before, was like huge at the time, like skill disparity, and like every game I could just full clear, and they would be up like 30 CS just from nothing. Like it was almost like they were just right clicking the creeps better.
Yeah.
But I specifically remember that game was such a classic Simon game where like he was playing Ori and Ari, he was just shitting on this guy, and like you could hear it in his voice how cocky he was. And then like he's just playing.
You can hear the progression as well.
No,
Yeah.
like
and then he
thinking
just
like
fucking runs up and dies like 3 times in a row, and we just lose. Like, oh,
I-
I've experienced that so many times.
I guess like saying that now that I've versed Simon for a year, like I sort of know his strengths and weaknesses a lot more than I did when I played with him. And like I found that like I didn't respect his early game and mid game as enough as I did when I was a teammate of his. But like his late game falls off a lot, Simon's. Like he
Yeah.
sort of just he has like a really big brain like when it comes to like side lane picks and like skirmishes and stuff, right? But like I don't like looking back at it, I don't think Simon was actually like a big team fight like player. Like he wasn't really like that guy that could communicate and like flow communication really well through the late game. And I think that's
Yeah.
why like he would have his brain fart moments. But in saying that, like his early mid game was like why he was like such a great player for me,
I think
like in hindsight.
after playing with him for such a long time, the really obvious, like the way I would draw a comparison is just like he's like the perfect like glass like example. Like
Yeah.
he's like information processing is really good, and he's like understanding of matchups, and like he's understanding going into games of like what should happen at what point in the game is really good. But as soon as you give him like enough information, his glass will overflow, and he'll just die to something random. And the amount of times,
Bucket.
and I know this happened with Derek a lot as well, but Derek would just be like, oh, this guy is heal, or this guy is flash. But Derek made like probably like 1/6 of the mistakes that Simon did. Like think about the amount of times Simon died. He's like, oh, I can't believe like that happened. Like it would just always be missing like this crucial piece of information.
No, actually, yeah.
He's just not.
It's a
considering.
carry thing.
No,
It's just a
actually,
carry
yeah.
thing.
No, but like
Would you
Simon
like-
was so extreme. Like he fucking gets caught so much. Like as Dos said, like around like the mid late game portion, and it's so infuriating because he's always so far ahead and he always has all the resources, taking my fucking jungle camps as well. Anyway, I just had to throw that in.
Yeah, he also does the thing where he gets caught and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, the fucking oh my god. Dude.
That's
That
why he
so
was always.
frustrating.
That's why he was always good at the dashing champs like LeBlanc and Ari, because like they give you the safety
Yeah.
nets, you know what I mean? So like they can just get out of the shit, you know?
Ari
But,
was
like,
his
if-
perfect champ.
Like on the Oriana and stuff, you'd always have his little stinker moments where he gets caught or something.
Simon was the bush king. Like he would
Yeah,
always
no,
just
he
sit in a
was.
bush and wait.
He still did that last year as well, and his Kiana and stuff. It was
Oh,
so
yeah.
annoying. So annoying.
All right. So the CJ Entus game. Let's chat about that one a little bit. So we played that game on the stage, like the main stage, in front of like a billion Chinese fans. Oh, sorry, like a billion Chinese like Korean fans, and then it was just like us, like little old
so
Australia. And then we went into it like knowing that the game would be like incredibly laggy and unplayable. So we drafted the pocket Xin Zhao for Sam, the zero mechanic like high ping champion, and then we actually shit on them at the beginning of the game. I think it looks like we shit on them, but like realistically, it probably
No,
wasn't.
okay.
It probably
We-
was a lot closer than it actually was.
Okay. So the way I see this game, because I've looked back at it a few times to like reminisce on my glory days, but so it's like it's multifaceted. So first of all, I owe like a fair amount of credit to Papa Smithy, because I remember I was talking to him before the game, and I was just complaining, and he basically just said to me like, suck it up and just like use the lag to his advantage, and he's like, just play the champion that's like the most fucking, you just press one button. And at the time, like Xin Zhao's the obvious one because you just E, you right clicked on them and you press Q, and that was like Xin Zhao's kit. So I owe him a lot of credit for the pick. But yeah, I look back on that game, and I remember I took every frag as Xin. To be fair, a couple of them were like solo kills, and then I built fucking Spirit of the Ancient Golem. I had Spirit of the Ancient Golem, like, which was just a full tank item. I could have gone damage, and I could have fucking carried, and like we actually scaled really well. We had fucking Kassadin. Simon was on Kassadin.
No,
and
they
we-
had Kassadin, didn't they?
Didn't they?
No,
No,
they
they had
had
Kassadin.
they had Nidalee. They had Nidalee.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
played Nidalee.
Simon was
yeah,
playing
that's right.
Kassadin into Nidalee, which like should just scale. Like, I mean, I was gonna say scale in the side lane, but like I don't think anyone knew what side lane was back then. But like we were just outscaling them. We had Annie Lucian, and like Dos was scaling on Shyvana top.
Shyvana,
right?
yeah.
It was like Shyvana versus Rengar. Actually, Dos, it was so funny, the memory.
No, I was gonna talk about. I was gonna
you
talk
can have
about
it, you can
my
have it,
side.
You can have it. You can have the comms. I know exactly what you're gonna talk about.
No. Well, okay, from my perspective, it was like up until that game, and this sounds like a little bit ego-y, but like I never really got shit on like really hard before.
Yeah.
And like this was the first time where I was getting like just completely like dominated beyond belief.
Keep
like
in
I was
mind,
getting,
keep in mind that
Were you
Flame,
getting flamed?
yeah,
Yeah,
this was against Flame.
yeah. Flame
And
was
he
the
was
best
like-
player in the world at the
Yeah.
time.
He was the best
yeah.
player in the world, and like he would do things that like he would be auto spacing you in like melee matchups, which just sounds impossible, but he was doing it. And then like I was saying in game, like guys, I'm not getting shit on that badly, don't worry. But if you press tab, I was down like 90 CS at like 14 minutes.
You actually
Like,
you were getting Flame Horizon, but you didn't die.
No, I
like
didn't die, and I was like, I'm not dying.
Yeah,
guys.
because Dos would base like once every minute.
No, it's sort of what ignited like my love for Flame, and that's like sort of like why I loved him. Like I looked up to him for so long, but like it was honestly a life changing experience, that game for me. Like just seeing the level of like play someone could get to. So
You know when you play against someone who's just that much better than you, and you play against them in lane, and you can feel it.
like
You just feel the
instantly,
mechanical
like
difference,
instantly. It's
and
crazy.
it just hurts. It just you just feel so much despair. You're like, I can't do anything against this guy.
No, I
I'm
quickly
just so outcast.
I quickly realized that like my job is to just like not die, like just don't do anything. Like, just
leave it
be
up to
useless.
leave it up to
like
your
le-
full tanks.
like
and
leave it
Java
up to
carry.
my jungle mid, because at the time they were like, I think the score was like 6-1, and also that like CJ paused the game out of frustration, so like you knew that like they were getting angry, so it was
Yeah.
like we knew that like we actually could have mental edge won that game. But then
How was
we got anti-ulted or something.
how was Bola in that game, Derek?
I meant to. Bot lane actually started off really well. I remember like
You guys solo killed them, I'm
like-
pretty sure.
yeah, we 2-on-2 killed them. At the first start, I think what happened was they like Emperor was playing Corki, and he like we got into a skirmish right near our tower, and I think what happened was we were skirmishing near our tower. The whole game froze for like 5 seconds, and he just like he didn't walk into our tower, but he just kept chasing me, and then all our creeps and like it was Rosie at the time. He was playing Zyri, just ordered him, so he just copped like 5 seconds of free auto, and they just died. So it just lagged out at the right time of the skirmish, and we just won the 2v2 skirmish at the start, so we got a kill. And then the game turned back around where the same thing happened to me, except I just completely lost my shit, I remember. I think while we were fighting them, I did the same thing where it lagged out, and then like you lagged out at a bad time of the skirmish, and I think I just took like a few seconds of free autos and just perished. And then I remember this very distinct moment where I just got so angry because I was so hyped up after my first kill, and I was like, I'm gonna kill Emperor and we're gonna win this game and we're gonna be the best in the world. I just like all the stars aligned in my head, and I just like dashed in and I was like, all right, let's do this. and then like you dash in and the game just freezes, and then 5 seconds later you're dead. And then your support. I think your support. Andrew was just like flashing away or being chased down as well. And then I was just so angry. I remember like I grabbed my headphones and just threw it, and just like pegged it, and then it landed on the floor somewhere. I don't remember like behind the computer. And no, all these photographers just came running over and started taking pictures of me. It's like, look at this angry Aussie guy. And I remember just this moment where I was just like a dead screen. I was just like so distraught, and all these people were taking pictures of me. I'm like, I'm never playing international ever again. This is just the worst moment of my life, and I was just mentally boomed. And then like 10 minutes later, I remember seeing this. I remember tabbing. As an ADC, as a carry, you're always tabbing to like compare how well you're doing against the other carry. You're like, what items does he have against me? What's he has? And it was just he had a Trinity Force, and I had boots and a Vamp Scepter.
I actually remember that.
Like a Trinity Force.
I remember that.
And then I remember just like trying to go up against a mid game Corki where I was ahead of you with Trinity Force, and he just like Q ordered me and I lost half my health. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
That was the Insta Force bomb.
This was old Insta Q Corki left lane 5-0 with a Trinity Force. So
this is what I did back at OS, and then it was doing it to me, and I was like, you can't win against it. It's impossible. I was just so mentally boomed.
I remember a certain team fight.
Honestly, if DOS fed Rengar instead, we probably would have had a better chance of winning that game.
I remember a certain team fight in Bot Rua where we just got like Penta killed by him or something.
The game losing team fight was the mid team fight.
Was it?
Yeah, like we didn't have any macro. I remember they were kind of just chasing us around. Like they were pushing our lanes and like pushing us out into our jungle, and we didn't actually know what to do. But I remember there was one team fight that we were still like kind of in the game, and
it was in bot mid river, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I remember. I hate to call out Andrew on this, but he did miss his flash tivers, and it was pretty crucial to team fight. I'm pretty sure. Keep in mind, Andrew was very good support.
No, I remember as well. It was.
Andrew was very good player, but he did fuck this team fight up. I'm gonna go find it.
No, it was a nail in the coffin. I remember. It was a nail in the coffin.
I need a VOD review.
But that's when I think you either got a quadra kill or a pentakill. But like, if we anti-ulted him, I think we would have killed him. But I'm not sure from memory.
To be fair, to his credit, it was fucking laggy.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
Oh, the game was.
It was awful. Like, I don't even blame him for missing Annie Tibbers, but like, like the game was just that unplayable that missing Annie Tibbers was quite a reasonable thing to like expect that could happen.
You know what the funniest thing for me, like remembering that tournament, is when we were in the hotel and Eric, that one of our managers at the time, wouldn't get the laptop.
Oh my god! Holy shit.
Like we were trying to do a draft, like we're doing like a serious meeting, and he was just laying on the bed being lazy, and like he wouldn't get the laptop. And Derek just starts screaming at him, and I've never seen Derek angry before this, and he was just like letting loose, and that like to me that's like the only thing I remember about that like tournament really. It was just a funny moment.
I actually, guys, I VOD reviewed it, and I actually think the Tibbers made a difference. Like,
he landed
fucking shredding everyone.
He landed the ulti that fight, but it just was irrelevant.
Yeah.
It was just irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
it's,
but he
it's
made
actually
mistakes
the,
everywhere else. So
it's actually the Trinity Force Corgis just fucking shredding us like a fucking
Yeah, it was-
balloon.
You don't play against Trinity Force Corky mid game. It doesn't work. that
Doss
way.
is running back to lane from base.
I can
Yep.
share the
Okay.
screen maybe.
Am I down like 100 CS?
The in game is like 14 minutes. It's like 14:20. That was the nail in the coffin.
Nah, sorry, we'll skip that. I mean, we got to go to Shanghai together. That was fun.
It actually was. I remember
Yeah.
singing the Tokyo Drift song in the.
The air
to-
was really bad though, right? Remember?
Yeah, that was pretty terrible then. And then we
Oh,
looked. We had took the picture next to the pig's face. That was a classic.
Oh yeah.
I
yeah.
remember at that time I was barely like a human being.
But did you even come, Doss, to
No,
Shanghai with
wait.
us?
He did.
No, was
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. What?
No, I did. Is that when we were getting like pushed around by all the Chinese people?
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
ground
yeah, yeah,
Stuff?
yeah,
We were getting like shoulder barged and shit.
yeah.
China.
I remember that was when like Frank. It was basically me and Doss who were just like two kids. Like I think we'd left like, I mean I'd barely left my room, let alone like the country before.
Yeah. No, we were pretty young. We were
And
like really
Frank
young.
was just like fathering us around, like just taking us to get food and shit. But like,
Yeah.
I remember I just had like I was just not human. I remember like I had my hand held like everywhere I was going.
No,
and,
Frank definitely saved us, especially when he'd
Yeah,
alpha
yeah.
some people for us. Like Frank did the dirty.
Oh,
work.
yeah,
he,
I remember-
he did the dirty work.
I remember Frank would always staunch people. Like I remember that.
You have to do that.
he
in
did it
China,
for the
though,
boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you need to someone do that in China. If you did it in China, they just see a bunch of pasty white boys and they're like, "Oh, let's push these guys around."
Holy shit! How old was I then? 20.
It would have been like
2013. So
it was like 18, 19. I
yeah,
think.
19.
I just remember. I remember being so clueless, like not knowing where to go, what to do, like.
That was crazy thinking
Yeah.
back then.
That was such such a fucking out of world experience for me in
Yeah.
those days.
But you had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing League has done. It's brought us all out of our shells and given us
For
plenty
sure.
of new experiences.
Mm.
And
All
we
right.
can be grateful for that.
So after 2013, 2014, so that was like our full proper year together as a team. And then in 2014 was when Riot came in and instituted sort of the regional events, so autumn, winter, and finals, which is essentially like 3 different tournaments that had online group stage and then a live grand final. So we kicked off 2014 pretty well with autumn regionals up at the Gold Coast, Supernova Gold Coast. So I think we like blitzed the online stage pretty hard, and then we went there, and it was us, and then it was
And, I think.
so it was Dig, NV, so Dig, Oceania, NV, and
Avant.
at the time they were called Avant still, yeah. So like Carbon, Choo Choo's, EGEM and stuff. And then like we were still like the best by far. But yeah, the Gold Coast trip, I actually had a lot of fun that trip. Remember the Hog's Breath Cafe? It was like the
Yeah.
beginning,
Oh,
the
that was
beginning
the
of
first
the
and
end
last.
of Riot paying for dinners for Oceanic
That was
players.
that was Minky's fault, right? Like,
It
I feel like,
started with Minky.
I feel like
Yeah.
Minky was like, I'm gonna order this $50 steak, and then like he ordered drinks.
I think that was
as
actually my
no,
fault.
Derek was
I,
definitely
well. Oh,
not.
it was Derek.
I remember I egged Minky on. I was like, I just said to him sarcastically, "Oh, you should just order the most expensive thing, because Riot's paying for it." And he
Minky
actually went out and
100%
did it, and then everyone around him just followed the example as well. And then I think eventually the whole table just ordered a bunch of really expensive stuff, and then Riot was just, that's why we saw the bill and was just like, "Oh yeah, that's ridiculous." And
I
That
don't
was
think,
the
I don't
end
think
of
it ever happened again. Derek is
No, right?
Derek is a serial abuser of people buying him food.
The steak and ribs combo. Whenever I
I'm just
order
gonna,
from
I'm just gonna run
Hurricanes.
downstairs quickly to get water.
Yeah,
but
I'll
I
get
still got my headset on.
No, yeah. Whenever I order a steak and ribs from like Hurricanes or anything, like I always think of Derek. It's like he's. The one
I
that
also
led the
I
way.
egged you on to buy that. And you actually bought that.
Yeah. Under the Frank card as well.
Yeah, because we'd always have the tradition of back in the day before it was live group stage, like only the semis and finals would be live. So we'd always go to Hurricanes, which is like a steak and rib place, and like I'd shout everyone like before the series. And because we always won before I did that, it became like a tradition. So every time we had like semis or finals, I was like, ah shit, gotta go to Hurricanes. And then Big Derek just comes in and finds the most expensive thing on the menu and and just orders it. Like the guy's like Sam's like ordering a burger or something, like a $20 burger, like trying to be
I
polite.
never got the ribs.
And Derek just orders like $100 worth of ribs and drinks.
In hindsight, I wonder if that was the best strat for us. I feel like we just loaded up on carbs and protein.
Yeah, and we just got like really lethargic during the game, but we were
yeah.
just so much better than everyone.
It was like the mental win though, right? Like getting rewarded with like a nice
Dos,
like, meal.
it was such a mental win for you because like the way you just talk about it, it's like, yeah, we get the Hurricanes, we get the win. That's it. I'm going to take a big poo. I'm going to take a big poo. It's the game-winning poo.
No, dude,
And like as
still
soon
to
as
this
you started
day-
saying stuff like that, I just knew we'd won. Like that was
yeah, it was a good mindset. It's the placebo effect for DOS. Like if it works, it
He
works.
needs it.
No, I
Brandon
seriously need a
moment.
placebo in my life to win. Like I always find something. Like now it's like socks. Like I always have to wear the same socks every time I play. So
Yeah.
no, I do miss the Hurricanes. I will admit.
Yeah. So for
Remember Simon had his mouse pad as well.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, the booby mouse pad.
yeah.
Yeah. So for autumn regionals, like we won that event. Unfortunately, it was the only event that year that didn't have an international event that you qualified for. So all we got for it was a poo color jacket. That
Oh
was,
my
It was
God,
so
the
bad. It was
the
so
poo jumper.
bad, dude. I think I threw that out like the week after.
I remember
Fucking poo
'cause-
jumper.
I remember because they had like the sizes for you guys, and the only size they had left for me was like a 2XL. It was just like two sizes too big for me at the time, and I literally just couldn't wear it. So I think I gave it to my dad.
Wait,
we had that-
there's one thing I want to talk about with the autumn thing. I have to take credit for this quickly. I actually think, and in hindsight, I invented one of the most creative uses of runes back then. I remember that I discovered if you ran one XP Quint on Pantheon and you did double buff, you hit 3. And like I swear no one else in the world at that time.
Oh
had
yeah,
used
I
that.
remember that.
No,
Yeah,
And I was like,
remember that.
and I got first blood off it, and I was like,
No.
holy
So
fuck, I'm a
yeah,
genius.
so it was one XP Quint on. I think you played Kha'Zix at the time. So one XP Quint on Kha'Zix, and then we played Zillion support, which at the time.
Oh
Zillion had
yeah, it was Zillion.
Yeah,
That's right.
Zillion has the global
yeah.
XP passive. So you ran one XP Quint on your jungler, and then you hit 3 off like 2 camps, and then you just like turbo ganked
Yeah,
like a lane
it was
off
like
that.
guaranteed first blood. Because back in those days, it was like
the level
there
3
was
gank.
level 2 gank didn't exist. Level 2 gank didn't exist until like Graves jungle was played like 2 years later. Like at that time, I'm pretty sure Graves was like old Graves. And I just remember I thought I was such a genius. Like that's my one like creative thing that I'm gonna
Defining
claim.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The Spookz.
well, speaking of that, you remember when I invented Gragas jungle, mate?
Okay, was that old Graves or was it new?
That
Yes,
was old
that was
Gragas.
old
I'm pretty
Gragas.
sure that was old
Yeah, that was
Gragas.
old
Yeah.
Gragas.
Yeah,
Old Gragas.
we took all of what was his name? Porky. Was it Porky?
No, it was oh shit, no, it was Joshi.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
took all
Wild
his
Joshi.
champs.
Yeah. So because at the time it was Gragas, Syndra, Nidalee, or something. Were like the 3 top lane like mid laners are just by far like insane.
Yeah.
So we didn't have enough bans to like deal with all of them. So we banned one, and then we first picked Gragas and Nidalee, I think, and then we just stuck Gragas in the jungle because like we were so good back then, and then like you would play anything. So
Yeah.
we picked Gragas jungle, and I think like that was literally like the first time like we played Gragas jungle. I don't know about in the world,
Yeah,
but
that was crafty.
I went around and told everyone that I invented Gragas jungle.
I remember
Which
back
I'm-
then I used to play Zed jungle and shit. I used to just fucking love playing real troll shit. And, like,
you know another fun fact about that series, we're playing with FBI.
with?
Remember?
Oh,
FBI.
yes.
Yeah.
No.
Because Derek
I do
was busy.
remember that.
Derek was busy.
Yeah, and we were just like, this kid's fucking insane.
Yeah, we
Like,
were
he
like,
was-
this
he
guy.
He just had we just thought he was the most brain dead player ever. Like,
Yeah.
he'd just play Vayne and just fucking like alt tumble into 5 people or, like off cooldown. It was like
Do you
it was the
remember-
complete opposite to Derek.
Do you remember that event, DOS, where I think it was like the grand final of some online tournament, and then Derek was busy, and we got FBI to sub in.
Oh yes.
yeah.
No. That was
We played against
Yeah,
Little Wraith,
yeah.
Little Wraith, yeah, and then he just turbo carried. Like
Yeah,
he
I
was
remember
so
he
good.
smurfed.
No, it
He
was
was-
like back then. It was like if Derek said someone was good, you really knew that they were good. And like Derek, I think praised him, and I was like, wow, this guy must be serious.
Derek had
I
a
remember-
really good eye for like Derek called FBI a lot earlier, and Derek called King a lot before everyone, and Derek called Lost before everyone as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it was easy for Derek. Anyone that like doesn't get fucking destroyed by him in lane is like he just goes like, this guy's
Well, I
pretty
played
good.
against them directly in lane, right? So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier for me to see. Like when you're playing from an outside perspective, you don't see all the little intricacies that happen in lane. It's like Brandon can really appreciate Flame when you play against him, right? Like just getting absolutely destroyed in auto space on like all the little interactions you have with him in lane. It's sort of like that when you can't see it from the naked eye, but you learn to appreciate it when you play against them. And then I remember just getting outplayed by him in one tournament. And I was like, this wasn't supposed to happen. FBI.
His mechanics are insane, but he was so dumb. Like he was, I think he was actually 14 or something at the time, wasn't he? He was like,
Yeah, he was. I remember he just like flash outplayed me, and then I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? I did not expect this.
yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, he just tumbled in tower and died, and I was like, okay. Fine, we win this way, it's fine.
Hey, not much has changed. Don't worry.
All right, this is gonna be a tough one, boys. The infamous Winter Regionals.
Oh.
So the 2014 Winter Regionals was the qualifying event for the wildcards that year, and we went to it. We were so cocky going to that event.
Sorry.
I'm just dying.
I just have this cough.
No, dude, like we were so like I remember like the meeting before like it was like a seminar or
Yeah,
something.
like a player brief. Yeah.
Yeah, like a player briefing, and then like you'd have like Simon just like butt in like after every time like Benji speaks or something, and he'd just be like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Like we're gonna win. Like who cares?"
Wait, wasn't
like,
that Sam? I pretty
was
sure
it
that
Sam
was
or
you,
Simon?
And
No,
we- like-
it was both of us. I remember because Aaron brings it up to this day. He's like, Aaron's like, yeah, everyone in the scene pretty much started hating you like at this event. Like hated me like specifically because I was just so cocky.
And like Sam has this strategy as well, where it's like he likes to like bully the enemy a little bit because he's like
Yeah.
more Chad than
Oh,
them. So Sam would do like old footy tactics and stuff, and he'd just be like, "Oh yeah, like this isn't gonna be hard."
I think I was just like the original shit talker. Like I think
Yeah.
back then like no one else really shit talked much. But I remember specifically against Lucio, like Soul Strikes. Like one.
Oh, no, dude.
I was just like staunching him and just like shit.
That was so cool.
I remember I felt after we 3-0'd them, I felt so bad.
No, but that one at Winter really bit us in the ass because yeah. No, I remember like if we're talking about after the loss, like I'd never felt anything like that in my whole life. It was just like fucking the saddest experience ever. Like going to like the toilets and just crying for like an hour.
I mean, that
Just
was
like-
the first time I experienced heartbreak.
Yeah.
So it was like fucking excruciating.
Yeah.
I just remember I did not stop thinking about that event for like the next like 2 or 3 months. That's all I remember. Like every
And-
fucking day.
And for me, like the worst part about it, and this isn't like taking like a punch onto Avant, but like when we like boot camped with them, like before they went overseas,
Oh,
and we literally beat them like 22 games in a row or something like that, and it was just like, damn, like we really fucked this up somewhere.
I remember it was just like all of us were just crying on the inside, just crushing this team that beat us
Yeah.
over and over again, and trying to teach them how to improve. And we're just like,
That boot camp
the
was
fuck
the
did we
worst
do?
experience.
No,
Fuck.
but like 2 huge positives I gained from that like experience was like not like appreciating like winning more, because like I think before that, like when I first joined, like I didn't really care like when we won, like I didn't really feel it or anything like that, but like losing like really makes you believe that. And also like Ivan, like Riot Ivan, I think his name was.
oh yeah,
But like
Yeah.
he taught like the bucket reference, and like I still use that with my players to this day. It's like the best thing that I've ever taken away from like something. So yeah.
Silver lining, mate. I guess because even though that was probably the one international event where we had the best chance to make it out.
Oh,
At
we
the
would have
time.
probably won in my opinion, based on how Legacy did, and like in my like based off the scrims, like how much better we felt than them, and then they went and like almost won it all. Like it would have been an interesting event for us. Yeah.
I actually remember that best of 5 against Legacy. I reckon our meta read was so bad.
Oh, it was terrible. I was still doing
Holy
Ignite tops
fuck.
when it was TP meta.
We had
Like,
Ignite top.
Yeah.
we left Cassidy up first game because we were like, one of the coaches at the time, not going to mention his name, was like, yeah, we'll play Kate Thresh into Cassidy and it'll be fine. And then Choo Choo's just smurfed on us.
That was
not
like
good.
Aaron's peak as well. That was like Choo Choo's Zed, Choo Choo's Yasuo.
He was very
like,
good,
peak.
yeah.
You had to
That's-
Yeah.
you had to triple ban Aaron at the time, and then
I remember playing against his Zed was just the most
Yeah.
annoying TDS thing.
that was definitely Aaron's peak. And like I remember, like it wasn't just top lane. Like top lane was huge. Like not knowing like TP. Sorry, DOS. Like
Yeah, no, it's fine. I didn't watch VODs back then. Like I didn't actually watch
Yeah.
competitive play.
I mean, the one thing you could credit Minky for, like I don't think you ever say he's a good player, but like he was pretty smart. Like he
No, he
picked
was,
up on a lot
yeah.
of things pretty early on.
He
But,
was he always innovated well
Yeah.
and like red metal.
But,
He was the type of player that gets bored really easily, so he's always looking for new ways to play. So
Yeah.
he would always just find these new ways to play, and I think at the time he found he just accepted, he was willing to accept the TP meta before we were, I guess.
Oh, yeah, like thinking about like when he was on our inhib, like just like unkillable with teleport.
When he's playing Jax and he's just smacking you.
Oh, like
And
do you remember the Shyvana in game 5
Yeah.
when like me and Sam failed? Like we lost like a 2v2 bot, and then like I had Ignite Renekton, which didn't scale
Yeah.
back then, and then
Yeah.
it's just like
And then I played Ezreal.
I
against
literally,
Twitch.
I literally remember thinking in that game, like I just knew that I'd lost this
It
game.
wasn't. I was gonna say before, it wasn't just top meta that we had completely off. Because like bot as well. Like I remember that was when Braum was like first released, and I remember Braum when he put his shield up, he could absorb like the fucking continent. Like you could
Yeah,
throw every
it was-
spell in the game
wa-
at Braum shield, and it did no fucking damage, and it was the fucking radius on it was like a fucking wall.
It was fucking ridiculous. I remember there were so many times where like my ulti, I was playing Ezreal, my ulti was coming to snipe a kill, and then it just goes, Braum is here, and it just blocks it, and it's just so many little small things that you feel like would have turned the game, and
Yeah, dude, our
Just the-
support read was so bad because they were playing like Tristana and like scaling like bot picks every game, and we were playing
True.
shit from like that was successful for us like months ago still, and then we
No,
played
Yeah.
and it was like Lee into Elise. Like I kept fucking playing that matchup, which was like it was an even matchup, but like between me and Carbon, it would have just been better to be on the Elise side every game. And then I can't remember what Simon was playing.
I know he played Ziggs last game.
Oh, the Ziggs.
oh yeah,
The fucking Ziggs game. We
Fun.
actually shit the bed so hard. We shit the bed so hard that we picked fucking Renekton, Ziggs, Ezreal last game. Like we were just like we were such fucking pussies. Like holy
But
shit.
we had to give one to Timmy, so it's alright.
Yeah.
We had to give one to him.
Oh,
well, we gave him one and then stopped giving him any more. So that's just
It's good that we bounced it back.
Although
It
we
only
lost
took
the
us another
next
tournament.
event.
Yeah, it took
Yeah.
us another tournament, so lost to Legacy again.
again.
Yeah.
that
That was not
next
a good
one
year.
that next one was on me. I remember I'm pretty sure I shit the bed. I
Well-
remember I lost sound in a Nunu game. I remember that.
Well,
And then I was too scared to pause.
So regional finals. So between that, you know, kind of small thing of founding Chiefs, whatever, blah blah blah. Not really a huge deal. Exodus game.
I forgot about that.
Exodus Gaming originally, actually.
Oh my
That
god,
was a-
fucking Exodus. Holy
Oh my god, I
shit.
cannot believe I did not veto. So we were coming up with
I
like
can't believe you
ideas.
Almost had that
different.
game name. Almost
Ideas-
had that team name.
Ideas for the name of the org. I'm pretty sure, was it Andrew that suggested Exodus?
It was Andrew and
No,
Georgia, I believe.
It was like Amy or Georgia or something.
It was Georgia, I think. She pushed for it.
And then we had that really garbage
Yeah, I think
logo
it
that
was
like
Georgia.
I think I made the logo. It was like so bad. And then Andrew changed his name to Grimtongue. And then I think after a week we were just like, okay, this is terrible. Like we have to veto it. And then we went back to good old Chiefs. But yeah, after that regional finals at PAX, that was a very fun event. Apart from the losing,
Oh, fuck.
the Hilton Hotel, like all the parties and stuff that we went to. That was probably the last like fun event that we had. But yeah, that was a interesting series again against Legacy. I think we played them in the semis. I don't remember what you were talking about, Sam. I just remember two things. Sorry, Derek. This is an apology to you in advance. So I remember Derek autoing EGM on Janna under the Nexus Towers.
Oh my
As
No,
Twitch.
okay.
Oh.
I have something about that because
No,
we
okay.
investigated.
I
investigated
found this,
that.
Dos. Alright, Dos, you
Yeah.
can explain it. You can explain it, but I found it. Wait, has Derek heard about this yet?
No, you
No,
can.
what
Derek hasn't heard about
Wasn't
it.
it- wasn't it
Holy
just my-
shit, I actually
Sam,
can't
you
believe
can
Derek
take-
hasn't heard
Sam,
this.
you
no,
can
no,
take it,
no,
by the
Dos,
way.
you
What
take
actually
it.
happened then?
No,
I
you take
never
it.
looked back at this.
You got
Dos,
griefed,
take it.
Derek. You
Dos,
got
take
griefed.
it. You take it. Dos, you take it. Actually, no, I'll
okay.
take it. I'll take it.
No,
I'll
you
take it.
take it. You
All right, I'll
take
take it. So, it was like, was this when did we find this
It was-
out? Dos?
it was
our
2017.
last
It was
year of Chiefs,
2017.
right? Yeah. So we were just like talking about that final, like randomly, and we were like, yeah, I can't believe Derek fucking trolled. Like, and for whatever reason, like I went back and like looked through the VOD to like see what happened, and yeah. So you were playing Twitch and you were like fucking 1v9ing the game. I remember like we fell really far behind early, and then you just kept fucking stealthing up mid and getting picks like off cooldown. Like, I just remember that happening.
Yeah.
And then like we were in a position to win the game. Like we were probably outscaling them. And then Derek autoed Janna before he went to like hit the Nexus towers, and then he went back up to hit the Nexus towers.
Oh yeah.
He got aggro because of the fucking damage. But we would have ended the game, except Simon fucking Ori shielded himself. Like I went back and I never noticed this, but Simon was just fucking shielding himself for fun. Like there was no reason to shield himself, and he just shielded himself. And if he shielded you, we would just ended the game. And it was so fucking troll. And like Simon never said a word. Simon never.
No, he actually
never
didn't say anything for 5 years, dude.
He actually
he just
never
felt
brought it
like
up.
whatever
He
was.
just let Derek take fucking all the self-blame and guilt and just never brought it up.
Derek did walk under the Riven ult. That I'll give Derek that one. He
Oh
did
my
walk
God.
into
I
a
remember
Riven
that
and got one shot.
Oh my god.
But like
I
Simon did troll at the end there. And if anyone wants to go back and watch Simon just brain fart, like they can if they want.
All right, let's. Can you guys see this?
Yeah. Oh, we got it
Let's-
Oh
up.
Jesus Christ.
Let's have a watch.
We
Let's have
actually
a watch.
got it up.
This is so
Let's have an investigate.
Oh no, he walks under the.
Watch.
Wait.
He has his shield.
He just shielded himself.
Oh. Wait, can you rewind that? I think he walked under my W. I think Jonna walked under my W. That's probably what happened. Just
Dude,
go
how you
back.
got
Dude, I'm fed as fuck.
Yeah, because this whole time I haven't ordered him, right?
Dos, you're down 126.
And then I
Doesn't
W.
matter, dude.
Yeah, Jonna doesn't hit it, but he walks back into it. Whoa, he walks back into it, and then the.
No, because you're.
No, I think you just walked under tower range,
There was
didn't
no
you?
creeps. There was no creeps.
Yeah, there was no
The-
creeps.
the-
You
the
just
creeps-
walked into
So
tower.
the creeps got Janna Q. So like you thought they were gonna.
Oh, okay, and I dodged the jump. Wait.
No, you
Go
got
back, go
hit
back
by
a bit.
hit by Janaki.
So I think the melee crit gets.
Yeah, that melee.
Oh, the melee.
Oh, the
died.
melee died.
Yeah, the melee
died. Ah, okay.
No, but if you did get shielded, we would have killed Janna,
Oh my god.
Oh my god, we would end the game.
and we would have ended the game.
Dos, you're fucking 126.
No, dude, back then, back then, like, I didn't actually learn as a player until Simon, like, roasted me, right? But I was a massive pussy. Like, I would never push limits, ever, as a player. And, like, versing a Riven, I was just scared. I was just terrified.
remember-
So
I
I
remember
just,
you
like,
saying
went
that.
down, like, all the CS I needed to. Like, that was, like, it was a good quality because I had Derek to carry me a lot. But, like, I learned in my later years that, like, I need to, like, be more of, like, an actual individual. So back then, I just, like, would give everything in the world just to not
You
die.
definitely weren't a worse player. Like you just had no confidence.
Yeah, I just had low confidence. That's probably true.
Yeah, and then after that, but I think the Riven thing wasn't really Derek's fault. Like he came over a wall.
Oh, did we? Like maybe we should look.
Let's
at
have a look at that. It's so painful to watch.
can't
but
actually
this
remember.
is 7 years ago. I think we can. Wait, 6 years ago.
It's actually crazy. Like looking back at this, like the game is just like not even.
It's
the same.
so just simple. It just looks simple.
Back then, like you just look at it now, and you're like, no one knew how to play the game back
Guys,
then.
why does Carlin get to win the game? It's fucking 3-6-6 elite.
All right, ready?
Jungles just didn't see us back in this moment, in this era as well.
Here's Derek coming back from base.
But I got a pretty good engage here, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a good engage.
No,
Oh.
he just got owned.
Oh,
Oh Jesus Christ!
Jimmy just fucked us.
no, he's so fed actually. Well, yeah, no.
That was it.
The thing I was gonna wrap this tournament up was just like in winter, I felt like we were still a better team than Legacy, but in this best of 5, I thought it was like pretty close. Like in terms of skill, it was like they were probably better than us in this moment.
And
So-
then they lost to Avant
yeah,
afterwards.
they shouldn't have lost, but
Well,
like,
they lost to Veritas. So
yeah, they really
Yeah.
choked. I think.
And then AV got to go to IM Taipei afterwards because of that. Like we
Actually,
That was a sad year. That was just a
Actually,
really
that was
sad
a really
year.
bad year for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
2014, I just blacked out of my memory. I'm like that year just
2014 was
live
a
that.
lesson.
in my life.
It was a life lesson.
Yeah. All I have written here for the end of 2014 is very sad. Shit the bed.
Yeah, we did. We 100%.
No, I don't think we talked to each other for like a month after that.
Yeah.
We just like we just had like a break, and then like we came back and decided to like go again, which was good.
I remember after 2014 as well. That was when I broke up with Amy. Ritos, remember when I first broke up with her, and then I started playing 30 games of solo queue every day?
Oh, dude, you actually
Holy shit.
you actually lost the plot, dude. I remember.
You know, that was like that was my like one of my darkest points. It was like that was the most depressing year, and my first breakup. And I just started. All I did was grind League. Like
I think I did that too. I broke up with my girlfriend back then, and then all I did, I remember in the summer holidays for 2014, was I just played League. Only I would wake up at 11.
Well, you know
go to
what?
bed at 3 p.m.
You know what, guys? That's why we won four OPL titles in a row.
No, it actually paid
and
off.
then
It paid off.
It actually really paid off. Yeah.
Like going through a traumatic experience like that, and like also getting rid of someone toxic in your life, like it changes you for the better. It really does. Like, because it happened to me as well in 2017 when I broke up with what's her name?
Let's just leave it at that.
Alright, let's move on. Let's move on, boys.
Dangerous territory, does.
It's a lesson to teach to the gamers these days. If you're in a struggle, like maybe look at the people in your life. So
I just remember my mindset, and it was probably the same for Derek. That I was like, I'm not letting this happen again. Like I don't care fucking like if I don't do anything else in my life, like I'm not losing like another fucking tournament.
I think it's what it is. Like the worst part wasn't that you played bad; it was that you know that you got cocky, and you didn't practice as much as you could.
Yeah.
If we practiced heaps and they just played so fucking well, I think we would have felt a bit better.
Yeah,
but
for sure,
it always felt like we just got cocky, and or in hindsight, it's obvious, right? You just get slapped in the face for being cocky and not practicing.
I remember my mindset after that year was that I wanted to like train and prepare so hard that even if we played bad, we would still win. That was my mindset. I was like, we can come and like play this match against Legacy or whatever. It was always expected to be Legacy, and like shit the bed but still win because we're that much better than them. That was my mindset.
Yeah. No, that's why I think I deal with like losing splits a bit better than I used to. It's because now these days I know how to work hard, and I always do. But back then, like we knew that we were like all so much better than our counterparts in each role. So if we ever lost, like we just knew that it came down to effort. So yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
I think that's a good
on to the glory day.
Yeah, that's a good segue into 2015. Finally, we can talk about some not always good stuff in here, but so 2015 was when the OPL was instituted, I guess, and we just pretty much straight off the bat dominated. So split 1 2015. We went 13-1. The only loss we ever had was against the last place team.
Oh my
seems
god!
to
I remember
be
that game. Holy
seems
fuck.
to be a trend for Chiefs teams. 3-0, grand final, semi-final, and then we go to Turkey for our first of 2 Turkey wildcard trips. IWCI in Turkey.
Oh, the Simon LeBlanc one.
Yeah, that's when Simon popped off against. Oh, was it Ints that he popped off against?
Yeah, it was against Ints.
Yeah.
He had like 27 kills on LeBlanc or something. It was some fucking absurd number.
Yeah, we always did really well, like when we didn't care much in international tournaments, and then I felt like when we realized that we could probably win, like that's when like we just we let the pressure get to us. Yeah, like
we too shit the bed.
Like we'd always beat like the tournament favorites, like whether it was like Turkey or Brazil. And like that tournament was Brazil, and we just like slapped them. Like Simon did carry pretty hard, but like we did slap them. And then based off like based off the top of my head, like we just like I remember the night we were like, wow guys, like we could actually win. Like we were talking to each other about it, and then like the next day it was just a disaster. So
yeah, so I think that's when the Chiefs Day 2 meme was like the OS Day 2 meme like began. So we start off, we beat KLG, which is Chaos Latin Gamers, like the LATAM South team, I think. And then we beat Ints, the Brazilian team. We actually had a pretty good record against Ints overall in our history. So we beat them. That's when Simon shit on them. And we lost to Besiktas, the Turkish team. And then day 2, hard random. Oh, that hard random game.
I was going to say the Thaldrin game. The fucking Thaldrin game.
When Derek walks over the Rumble, and he's like, "Oh, Rumble!"
Oh my god, the Sivir, the fucking Sivir standing in the Rumble. Holy shit, that's a throwback.
Yeah, no.
That was when we figured out that Rumble counted Scion because like
Yeah.
it didn't in lane,
You
but like
ult-
in
you ult
team
the
fight.
team fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would just fucking zone all the carries, and you would just be like, guys, guys, what's happening? Daldrin at that time was actually pretty insane. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was Aldrin the top laner?
Yeah,
That
he
was the top for
Turkish top
Turkey,
laner.
yeah, for
No,
Besiktas.
I've randomly had a convo with him last week, but I was telling him like, out of all like the top laners that I've versed in the wild cards, like that tournament when he was in that tournament was like probably the best that I've versed. Like he was, he just seemed like he seemed like a world class player when you versed him. Like you could sort of feel it. So, yeah, he was that was a really tough game for us. I think that really like broke our mentals a bit. That one.
Yeah, and then we played hard random. We played Kira
Oh my god.
and
Oh,
Smurf.
Kira.
And Nivea Kira?
Yeah, Kira
Is
and
that when they
Nivea.
lane swapped, or was that the next tourney?
No, that was the next tourney.
Oh,
I remember
okay.
that one.
That's when Simon roasted you.
Yep, I remember that one.
Wait, no, we didn't. We wouldn't have played Russia in the next one.
Well, I don't think it was that one. It was
This
when
might
they
have been
played
2016 Mexico.
They
Oh,
they
okay.
played Maokai lane swap.
Yeah. Oh, we lost to those guys. That was a pretty rough game actually. I think we thought we were gonna beat them. So we lost to those guys, and then wait, did we play? Oh, okay. So and then we beat Dead FM day 3. We literally have like a 99% win rate against Dead FM. So
Yeah.
And then we lost to BKT.
Oh.
But that's alright. This was the first wild card, so not the
That wasn't
the-
the grand final one, right?
not the
Not the
bad
grand final
BKT one that we'll get to later. So
Oh.
we ended
oh.
up we ended up going 3-3.
Derek.
So we had
Oh, no.
Derek, prepare yourself. We're going to touch on this more later. So we went 3-3. So we had the same record as Besiktas, but they made it through obviously because of head to head, and then they ended up winning the tournament because like and going to Worlds. So that they 3-0'd BKT, who went like 5-1 in the group stage. Do you guys remember the live grand final?
That was against Ints, wasn't it?
It was so
yeah, it was
disgusting, right?
Ints first in Turkey. Besiktas
Oh
versus
yeah, I
Ints.
remember this.
And
That
then the fans were literally just like
Yeah.
telling
worst
like
fans ever.
Besiktas like
When they were on Baron and
when
shit.
they're on Baron, like when they were camping, bro. I felt so bad for like the Ints team.
Because
That was so bad,
we
actually.
had all played in like very similar like event spaces by that point, and like we knew that they could hear them as well. Like you always hear that like bit of background sound. Like you can't really make out people's voices, but
no,
like
you can feel the stage
Yeah,
even if
yeah.
you can't hear it. You can feel the stage rumble. Like
yeah. No, I remember like Ints was doing Baron, and like the crowd was just like screaming, and like the whole Turkish team just was face checking their jungle with no vision. To, like,
It's
check
crazy,
Baron.
actually.
Yeah.
After 2015 wildcards, we came back. It was like our first proper tournament together, international tournament, like as this sort of classic roster. And then we came back to Australia. We took a lot of positives out of that event, but we also ended up making a roster change, which was we replaced Rosie with Ejim. And then we finally achieved the perfect regular season. So we went 14-0 in the regular season again, and then split to OPL Grand Finals at Luna Park. That was like our first live domestic tournament, I guess, event. I actually had a lot of fun at Luna Park. I thought that was a pretty good event. I don't know what you guys think.
that was a fun event.
Yeah.
It helps that we won as
Yeah.
well. Not gonna lie, but
It was
Yeah.
in terms of like crowd impact and everything. It was probably the best Oceanic tournament that there was.
yeah. I
That I've
think
been a
the
part of.
crowd peaked. Everything, all the stars aligned. Right, we had a very good semis coming in. and
Flying
then
Jew got banned.
coming in, and
So
then King
Flying
got
Jew
banned
got
as well.
banned.
Oh
This
my
was
God.
the Flying Jew ban. Yeah.
Oh, Flying Jew, no, this
So,
was this was
Claire
the Flying Jew,
played
sorry,
support
King.
for them. We still lost the game.
To be fair, Claire
like
played pretty
there's
well. I felt.
there's no way there's no way that they would have won that best of 5. You could probably
They weren't.
you could argue like the Mexican one.
No. I think
but
it was the. I think it
that
was
best
the.
of 5?
Oh yeah, the Mexico one. The Mexico one. That one was sketchy.
That was the king one.
2016 split one.
That
we
was
should
the
have
king.
lost.
That was the
Like
king
we didn't
one.
have.
Yeah.
We'll get to
But
that anyway.
this
yeah.
tournament, like we were really dominant. I don't think there was really it wasn't really close in skill, even though they took a game of us. I think they ran like this real cheese comp from memory that was like real weird to us. But yeah, it was
They're in multi. Oh no. That's
But I think we were like, I think all of us were well practiced enough and well prepared enough that even if they ran cheese comps, like I think we would have been good enough anyway. Like even like if
Yeah, no, that was when Tom Kench was before Sleeper, and Minky actually was on to
Yeah,
like
I
this
remember
OP pick, and I was playing Fizz at the time, which was also OP into it. But yeah, no, like after that tournament, like Tom was like first pick ban. So
Remember we
lucky.
do you
reckon
oh, sorry,
if I didn't
no, you go.
if I didn't go on, Frank. I was gonna say, do you reckon if I didn't like sit top, like that matchup would have been really hard? I think that matchup would have been like impossible.
Like, there were times in that series where I was like, wow, I actually can't do anything. But like I didn't tell you guys, like I kept it a secret. But like it was like I felt like this. I felt like this champ was OP like when I was versing it, because like
you scale. You were scaling, but like I think I put like 4 or 5 ganks top. Like I think the map was like completely split bot side. That was actually the game where Carbon level 2'd mid, flash snowballed Simon, but like didn't even force Simon to flash.
Yeah.
Like I felt when Tim did that, I kind of felt like we were gonna win the series.
It's just such a mental boost at the start, whether he just like does a desperation cheat, it doesn't work, and you're like, all right, you're done.
Yeah.
There was always something between you and Carbon. You always had like a real good mental edge over him.
Yeah.
Like you always like found him really easy.
Yeah. You were so competitive towards him though. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think we were like, from what I've heard from the other like side, it was the same for Carbon.
You guys just hate each other actually.
Yeah, we did most of the time. I think like nowadays we don't hate each other at all. Like we talk about it and it's like chill, but we definitely fucking.
I don't think you hated each other like personally. That was just the fact that you two had to play against each other over and over again, right?
I don't know about that one.
Yeah. It was like if there was a point where we didn't like each other as people. I know Carbon fucking hated me.
It was honestly the same with me and Minky. Like Minky would always like really talk badly about me to friends and stuff, but then like in person he would always be nice. Like it's just like and it was actually why like the rivalry was like so like good to the public, is because like I genuinely think we didn't like each other like as teams. Like we really like there was a real rivalry there, and like Oceania really likes that these days. But it was like
it's also both teams had like really strong personalities. I felt like that was a big. I mean, maybe it's a cop out, but like kind of looking back on it, it definitely felt like there was a personality dip past that era of like legacy chiefs. Like you kind of had like direwolves, who it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like these guys are good players. It's just like you don't have a Carbon going up to Shocks and saying like, oh, scrims were too easy. You know, like you kind of need that stuff, especially in like the esports sphere. Like to kind of
have a marketable personality. Like you need enough people with marketable personalities to, even if like it's fake, just play it up for the camera.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird because like it was almost like there wasn't as much like professional pressure on us to like act, I guess, like professional or whatever. We could really just be ourselves, and like we let that flow, and like like you said, there was genuine dislike like between the two teams, like the two orgs, like Legacy Chiefs, like, and we would just always beat them. Like it was just like. It kind of just like lent itself to the story, and like back then, you know, the community was a lot less segregated as well. Like, you know, everyone was kind of converging like on the same platforms. Like, and this is what even back in the day, like Lola and Cybergamer and stuff. Like a lot of the discussion, a lot of like the beef was you know a lot more public and kind of really shone through. Whereas these days, like it's a lot harder to get like that level of insight into like the differences between the two teams and like the different players and things like that.
I can't remember if it was. This might correct me if I'm wrong. It might have been Luna Park, but it also might have been Brisbane. But one of those events where there were thousands of people, it felt like it was almost directly split. Like everyone either had a Legacy jersey or a Chiefs jersey, and it was like almost directly split between the middle. It was almost like the crowds were working against each other. It was like kind of what Derek said before, like the stars aligned. You know, it was like the perfect like setup for like the region to succeed. For whatever reason, it kind of just fell away. I guess it was probably lack of international success. I think we kind of like stumbled when it counted, but that I definitely look back on like those events like, really fondly.
Yeah, no, I think you go.
I think those events played a really huge role in like propelling OS forward, like the local community, like Luna Park and Brisbane eventually, and there was that one year where we had the gap between any sort of live events, and I think that really killed off a lot of the momentum too.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. All right, so Turkey 2.
Oh. Did we go to Turkey two times in the same year?
Yeah, we did.
That's crazy.
Turkey 2.
That's actually
before we get
crazy.
to the games,
With the same hotel as well.
we went to Berlin to boot camp beforehand. So I put together this boot
was
camp
sick, actually.
before we went because we were like, okay, we sort of need.
Oh,
Yeah, go on.
Oh, just before, I think, I remember in that season, I averaged like, just to self-brag, I averaged like 10 kills a game, and I wonder if that record's been broken.
And then we
Probably not. I would say it hasn't.
and then we went to.
This was the best season I've ever had in my life, so I just have to like do a 5-second like.
All right.
Props to myself.
I'll dig
Pat
up your
myself on the
stats
back.
and put them on the screen for you, mate. Yeah. So Turkey 2, Berlin
Good work,
Bootcamp.
Derek.
Just I want to say this before we enter the finals.
Before
We need to say this.
before
This-
the Monte Cristo Worst Player
before
Award.
this. Just keep this in mind. You know, like don't just focus on that part side. There's
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek, you did smurf that
Okay.
year, I remember.
So
I remember
Berlin
that's clear.
Bootcamp. That ended up. I think professional. Like we played
we
against
play
like
against
Rocket.
again?
We played against Sam's boss. We played
Lemon
Mouse.
Dogs.
Oh
We played
yeah,
Mouse.
that's right.
Right?
We had pretty good win rates, right? Like I don't think we got like really trashed on by many teams.
No, we played against. I remember we always did well against lower tier LCS teams.
Yeah, we
Oh,
played
yeah,
Mouse.
We did play against Nick's
And
team,
that's how we
'cause Nick
met,
tried
like,
to pick
in
up
Arrow and
Rice
stuff.
later.
And then we played against because we scrimmed at the facility, like the Case King facility, and Rockat were there as well. I think it was Rockat or H2K, and Yamato Kanna was coaching Rockat at the time. And he came and showed us how to order food on German Uber Eats, and then like
Actually,
and then we
Oh,
scrimmed there,
Jesus.
and I think that was the boot camp where it was kind of the sweet spot between not getting anything positive out of it, but also revealing all of like our issues. So we kind of like met in the middle there, and like I feel like it ended up being almost detrimental for the wildcard event itself because it highlighted a lot of our challenges, but then we also didn't have enough time to actually fix them.
Yeah, I guess I can't think of the details too much, but I do remember there was like a lot of arguments at that boot camp. Like there was definitely a lot of like hot-tempered stuff, especially between.
Yeah, I don't remember that boot camp very
No, I
vividly,
remember
though.
Bryce and Simon having a lot of moments at that one in particular.
Was that the Snide?
No, that was Mexico from memory.
Oh, fuck,
No, but
there's
like
actually
Bryce and
so
Simon,
many
Bryce and
highlights
Simon always had biffs like at like pre-boot camp like facilities.
Snide.
Yeah.
Snide.
No, but
Yeah.
I like that's when Nuke Duck had that really massive
Yeah, no.
game, right? We were like, "Oh, it was
So
insane."
before then
Yeah.
was we boot camped at Case King, and then we had the couch. Remember, we had the couch section like next to where we boot camped, and that's where we did all of like our like post game like venting and stuff. And then we had a lot of issues there that we couldn't really get through, and we had the table tennis tables. You guys remember that? Like the ping pong.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
no. Wait, is this the one where Derek had a massive conversation with Raz, right, for like 2 hours, like in front of all of us? It was like an intervention, like the Raz had with Derek, and like it was a really long
I think so.
conversation.
What was this? I
2015.
don't remember.
Was that no?
I
Or was that
can't
Mexico?
No, I
Yeah,
I
okay, no,
swear this was that
Germany-
tournament. 'Cause
Germany,
No,
Germany was that
Raz
time
was
where
that one.
Derek,
Yeah.
Derek just
Raz-
disagreed, like vehemently, like 4v1 disagreement with like some. I can't remember.
Oh my god,
remember
no,
that.
I remember it now. I remember it. There was
It was something about
something
pushing
so
an extra wave. I
fucking-
think
Oh
pushing an
my
extra
God,
wave,
what
like basing
Oh.
basing before pushing an extra wave in the side lane. And it was literally like 4v1. Like everyone was just like yelling at Derek, like, "No, like just do it this way."
No,
yeah.
it was not 4. It was 7v1. It was like it was all the
Luke.
players. It was Raz and it was
Yeah,
the
Luke.
Oh,
Albion.
Yeah, no, he
Oh,
was
was it
that one,
Luke?
yeah.
Yeah, it was Luke and Frank even joined in by the end of it as well. It was literally 7v1 and Derek did not like
what's
stand
now?
down.
Like, like I remember now. And I actually when I came back to League, I just like it was like you don't need to push an extra wave before you base, right? And then now that I come back to League, I just like figured out that that's the proper thing to do anyway, and I just do it. Like after like I retired 3 years later, I came back and I'm like, yeah, this is what you're supposed to do, and I just clicked in my head. And I was like, why didn't I do this before? Why did I have such a big
It was also the Derek.
No, I
Yeah,
remember
it was when Derek was
Simon
like,
had a
"I
mental
disagree, but
breakdown
I'll
as
just do it
well
anyway
about
because
it.
everyone says it or something along those lines." I think he just tilted everyone so hard.
Oh yeah.
And then
Like-
yeah, go.
No, I was gonna say I've never seen Raz like get angry before, but that was the first time. That's why I remember it so well, because like Raz was getting pretty upset about it. Yeah.
Raz does not get angry. Like I worked with him this year as well. Like, he doesn't get angry at all. That probably was the only time. But it was just like fuck. It was so tedious, that conversation, and it just got nowhere. And it was
we just didn't resolve it. And then so after Berlin, we went to Turkey, obviously, and that was during like a lot of the political unrest and tension. So we had like a lot of security. We couldn't leave the hotel, and I think that kind of contributed to it as well, like the sort of extra tension and like the security risk that we had.
It was
that
was near the airport bombing,
and
right?
I don't know if there was airport bombing, but like it was just like because we were just like confined to our hotels like the entire time, and then we scrimmed. I think it was Rocket, right? We scrimmed them, and then I remember because we played the Trist comp, like the Trist Lulu comp, that we took like every outer tower within like 15 minutes, actually. And then Nuke Duck just like 1v5'd us on Yasuo, and then we were just like, oh shit,
yeah. We didn't know what to do once we took all the
towers.
towers.
Like a premonition to the finals.
Because we had this really clean macro system, whereas I remember exactly how it went. It was like our bot lane always one lane, right? I remember that like vividly. So it was like we would always break bot tower, we would always get flip, and then off every deploy, like our bases were actually pretty good in hindsight, and like I think we were like relatively coordinated on like our base timings, and it would just be like off every base, Bryce would just be like, okay, we're going to go here, get vision here, we're going to take this tower, and then we're going to reset. And then we would just do that. And it stemmed a lot from Atoki, I remember, because like Luke was like the most objective focused like coach ever. And he's just like, if you're not playing around the objective, what the fuck are you doing? Like pretty much. I remember Luke got super tilted at some points, mainly at like me, Dawson, Simon, because we would like fuck around too much. But yeah, we had this like really good system where it was like we took the objective, we took the objective, and honestly, most teams are still teaching that exact same like philosophy that we were working on back then today, just in a different manner. But then I remember we broke all the outers and all the inners, and then we didn't know what to do. We were like our system, there's nothing else to do from this point. We never worked on Baron setups or whatever, and then from that point it was like there was that.
Yeah, he was literally fighting us in our jungle.
Where,
we took 6 towers, yeah.
Yeah, he just 1v4'd us.
No, it's like, yeah.
We were like, we would have been like 6k gold up or something, and he just like windwall blocked all our shit, and just fucking like styled on us so hard.
By that time it's like when we got them towers, like the game would just end, like they would just roll over. But then like we found out internationally that like teams like know how to play from behind, and we just like struggled closing, and that was like also.
Was that the Cedrion Sivir as well?
Do you guys remember just that? Wave clear Sivir.
Where he would. But he was like the first Sivir that spell shielded my Gragas E flashes, and I was so amazed by that. It was like, but like in hindsight, like it's probably not that hard, but like at the time I was so amazed.
Now everyone does it, I assume, or like.
It's pretty standard, yeah. No, but even like talking about the comms, like to this day, like we had some really good communication, and like we had a like good flowing system, and like even like the last few years, like I've like. You have to like teach players like a lot to like get to that point, but we all sort of just were like smart enough to have a good flow, and like we just reacted to our comms well. Maybe besides Simo had his moments, but Simo's comms are a bit iffy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I mean, like, despite everything that happened, like, we were pretty good. Like, we were pretty good then. Like by that point, like even though we had a lot of issues, like. We went to wildcards, so this is when they split the wildcards into the 2 different regions. So we had Bangkok from Southeast Asia, Dark Passage from Turkey, and Detonation from Japan. And like so, day 1. Okay, let's talk about the BKT pause.
Oh,
so I think.
God.
No, just hearing them laugh as well, man.
The
like
was it the very first game, right? The very first game, I think. Literally of the entire event. We get in.
Yeah.
We're playing on like the EU servers out of Turkey. So we're already playing on like 60, 65 ping. And then someone just DDoSes the servers and we sit in a 3-hour pause. Like, what are you guys thinking? Like, how did you guys like get out of that, like, mentally?
So yeah, I remember this because like a lot of the pause surrounded me because it super packet lost, and then I was doing red buff on Elise. I think it was like level 3, and then when the packet loss caught up, there were like 3 champs on my screen. That just like appeared out of nowhere, and then it was paused. Like I assume it was like ref paused or whatever. And I just looked at the minimap and I was like, these guys are fucking dead. Like these guys are trolling. Like we were all like collapsing, and like we knew they were dead, and like I knew I was just gonna repel, and like they were all gonna fucking die, and I was like. And then, like, what happened in the end? What was the end result? They just,
we had to go home.
Game,
so, like, they actually cancelled the game.
We unpaused a bit, and then...
No, we aced them, yeah, we aced them.
Yeah, we unpaused, aced them, and then it paused again 5 minutes later, and then we had to leave. So, you suspected the result, and then we got the results, and then we were like, okay, we're winning this game. They just trolled, and then they were like... And then they paused again, and we're like, okay, the server's fucked up. We have to leave. Like, we have to just go home. And you could just hear them cheering.
Yeah, so
from
the pauses lasted so long. Like, they were like rolling pauses. I think you guys ended up sitting in that room for like 2 to 3 hours. Like, literally 2 to 3 hours. And it was like 15 or 20 minutes of actual gameplay. And you can't talk during the pause. Like, you can't talk to each other. I think at one point they let you talk, right?
It was like really late. It was like late into the pause, so...
And we went to the bathroom.
And I was saying...
during the pause.
I remember in that slight timing, I was like, guys, like... don't remake this game, because that was when I was like, I knew that we were gonna.
Yeah, no, because we all thought that it was a bad thing, and Sam like sort of hinted that it was actually like a good pause.
No, I just knew they were fucking trolling.
Like,
yeah,
like having like to sit in that room, like when you're obviously like the adrenaline's pumping, like you're concentrating like at 110% for like 2.5 hours. Like that was probably one of the most torture experiences ever. Because then like after it all, it gets cancelled and you have to go home, and then you have to come back the next day and play the same game.
Yeah,
it was like
draining.
It set the whole tempo for like the tournament for us. Like we did pretty well to get back into the grand final, but like that was a really poor experience for sure.
I remember like I was like so mad. I was like so aggressive at like the BKT guys, like because I was like I'm still a douchebag now. I was more of a douchebag back then, and I remember because they were just so cocky and like arrogant, like or just like happy that it happened, and like obviously you would be in that scenario. But I was just so angry. I was like, this is so rude. Like, these guys are so disrespectful. Like, we were, like, raging so hard. And I always say, like, we 3-0'd BKT in groups because we beat them, like, in the remake and then again. Right? And then...
Yeah. They just didn't have the self-awareness to realize,
like, laugh in our faces.
Not to, like, just be quiet. Like, they could have gone back to, like, their fucking...
Well, probably so, like
laugh,
actually scary to them. Like, they actually would have thought, like, holy shit, like, are we gonna get, like, murdered or something? Because they were just such, like a nice team in hindsight. Like, they were just, like, a group of dudes, like, a group of nerds.
Yeah.
Like us.
So...
Yeah, like
everyone else.
But we're like... Being an Aussie, like it's a bit more
outgoing.
Scary.
Like we were like way louder.
Yeah.
Like they were really,
everyone's.
They were really polite. Like they were really polite. Like they were really like quiet. Like and like when they they were pretty polite when they dealt with us. But we just got triggered because they were laughing like in the room and like just being like really like not compromising. But at the end of the day, like they couldn't really do anything. But I mean, like, so we toured them, and then we went 1-1 against DP and Detonation. So like we topped the group like 4-2, like, and the grand final against Bangkok, and then that infamous grand final. So this is the only time the second time OS has won best of 5 away from World's groups, and we'd 3-0'd them in the group stage, and I think we were pretty confident going into this series. What happened, guys?
Like,
yeah, we need to bring up that we need to bring up that clip. I got triple credit. We need to bring that up. I need to see that again. I did the math on it.
I will say
it was fucking ridiculous.
I will say that I played pretty bad that series. I remember Simon and Brandon played well. I don't remember how.
Yeah, Bryce was long exploded.
No, Bryce is fucking long
mid-game one, I think.
He couldn't speak. Yeah, he couldn't speak. I always just made up the story that he's lung popped like mid alley combo because he polved the ground and then he headbutt the guy away. I still remember that. Actually, Bryce had a
Bryce had a
stronger
shocker.
series, but I don't think it was
but it wasn't his
I don't
fault.
think it was his
No,
fault.
from like hindsight, like
Yeah.
I had the easiest time because I was versing like a like I was legitimately versing the platinum top laner.
Yeah, dude.
like,
well,
Warlock,
it wasn't. Yeah,
like,
he was actually.
Yeah,
plat
Warlock was
solo
like
queue.
we did like a
fuck.
scouting thing and he was plat and like in hindsight, like how did I even carry them games like when I'm versing a platinum player?
Yeah,
But-
1v9,
And I was playing
bro.
Lloyd. Oh, Lloyd.
No, but yeah, just playing that series, it was very there was just some very frustrating moments that we all can probably remember. And I specifically in this one I'll never forget is when like Simon called for the TP bot, and then he's 1v
Oh my God, the
he's 1v2,
TP
and
bot.
like I shouldn't have
He didn't put
TP'd
the
when he
ward
put the
down.
ward down, but like the communication was so well, he just didn't put a ward down, and then like we probably could have won the game off it, but like
So the way it went was
Yeah,
So
Dos was
Simon
playing Lulu.
yeah,
Diana,
and I was
right?
Lulu.
It was Diana, yeah, and so Simon called like early on. He's like, "Yo, this guy's gonna gank me. Like, I'm gonna ward, DOS TP, and like I'll Zhonya's."
It was
Like, it was, like,
perfect
actually, like, a really good
communication.
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Simon did like the classic Simon. Sorry, Simon. But he was just like he just put his Zhonya's before he warded, and then like, and then he came out of his Zhonya's, he dropped a ward, and then DOS TP'd, and they both just died, and then the game was like the game
And
state was pretty.
the
fucked
funny
at that
thing
point.
was, like, if you go to the Reddit comments of that game, everyone just talks about how boosted I was for TP into that. like no one, no
No,
one
the
talked about
fucking-
Simo. Like, and Simo like apologized to me.
I got I got torn apart.
Oh
on
yeah,
Reddit
back then
that
Reddit
series.
was I think was like way like it felt like it was way bigger. To
Well,
us,
more
at least,
more
back
people were
then.
commenting
Yeah,
on the
like-
wildcard stuff back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you would go there after you lose, and you would
No,
just
no,
like,
you do not
would
want to go
get-
there.
you
There's a
would just
Reddit
get
blackout.
so
we have a
depressed.
Reddit. We have a Twitter and Reddit blackout after tournaments. You.
No, that best of 5 specifically, I got fucking roasted. I remember I was so fucking like demoralized, and like I went down and like read the whole of Reddit, and like that was probably the biggest dent to my confidence as a human like ever.
Mm.
Like holy fuck.
And I think that was that the tournament that we versed Cabochard in scrims. I think that was the tournament, the split 2-1. It's where I like
yeah,
evolved
yeah.
the most as a person because I've never like copped as much abuse as I had in that moment. Like I've never been like just
Yeah,
hurt
you had
so
you had an
deeply, 'cause-
unhealthy obsession with Cabochard
there-
after that one.
there-
I think we were memeing about that quite a bit.
so
Yeah.
there are four different quotes in this iteration of the team that I'll never forget. So one is when Bryce called Simon a snide cunt. Like we'll all remember that because like Simon was just being like an arrogant piece of shit. The other one was like Simon saying like, "Why are we screaming these guys? Like Cabochard's just gonna shit on us." Like, and he's saying it like with DOS because like
No.
DOS was obviously his lane opponent, and like he was just saying it with DOS there, and then we were all just sitting there like, "What the fuck?" The other one I'll remember, which you guys might remember, I was actually talking to Simon about this the other day, was when I was being like a bit of a piece of shit towards Bryce, but like in the way that I do it, where I'm not like direct, and then we had this big team conversation, and I was like, "Oh, Bryce, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were so sensitive." I don't know
No,
if
I
you guys
do,
remember
yeah.
that.
The backhanded apology.
That was such a fucking petty piece of shit to say. And then there was the lane swap one. What did Simon say to you about the lane
No,
swap
yeah,
thing?
so yeah, with the
Dos?
Simon stuff, like I like for context, like Simon's like he was like my older brother, right? Like he was like me and Sam were sort of like same level peers. Like Derek was the dad, and then Simon was like the older brother, and like I just looked up to him completely. Like I idolized him. Like everything he did, I would copy. Like this went on for years, but then like. In 2015, it was the first time he actually got really angry at me, and it was the first time with the Cabochard when I was like, we were joking about beating them in scrims, and Simon like comes over to us after not speaking for an hour, and he's just like, Cabochard will shit on you like tomorrow. that was the first time.
Oh,
The
that's-
second time was like when we lost to Hard Random. I think it was in a tournament, and we were walking outside, and I knew I had lost us the game because I like really griefed that series, and he walks out and he looks at me like same thing. He doesn't talk and he gets really angry. He doesn't talk, and then he'll come over and he'll like be picking his lip a little bit, and then like and then he would give you like a really strong eye contact, and he just said to me like, "Dos, like you lost us that game, like that was really shit." Like he said it in like some real snide way, but it was like they were really haunting experiences. And dead set, like there's never been experience in my life that like I've experienced where I was that like scared in the moment, you know, like I was like that intimidated. So, it was crazy.
I feel like for context, we're painting like Simon primarily with like a very negative light. I think like a lot of these like real petty things are said in a team environment because like you're so frustrated to the brink, like, and you don't typically you're in a situation you're like backed into a corner, you don't really know what to do, and then you just have these like you don't know how to like filter your frustrations. Obviously, there's more healthy ways of doing it. But like in the heat of the moment, especially when you're like expected to perform, and back then I felt like we had like a relatively large following. When you're expected to perform, like that's kind of just like the shit that is said. And I think like looking back on it, when we don't really hold it against against
honestly,
each other,
I'm actually grateful that he did that to me because like it actually like changed me in the right way. You know, I actually think sometimes you have the tough word with someone, and like Simon did a very bad job in sometimes with it, but like Simon obviously shaped me and Sam a lot as people, and like changed us a lot. So there's a lot of positives to say about him as well. For sure.
I mean, they're just like pressure-driven outbursts, right? From guys who that like never really expected themselves to be in that position, and then like didn't have the experience really to sort of deal with it. So I think it's all part of like character building, and it's all part of the experience for all of us. And like I think we obviously wouldn't have changed it. If we went back, so yeah, I mean, let's not talk too much about the. I think we've beaten the dead horse with the BKT series. I think Derek just wants us to mention that. What's the percentage, Derek? Tell us the maths. Lloyd.
It was 6.4% chance.
Lloyd crit you 3 times in a row at Baron.
Alright, do we have that clip?
I'll put it on the screen for you, bro. Don't worry, I'll put it on the screen. So yeah, there was that.
He had a 40% chance to crit, and he crit me 3 times in a row. That's 6.4%.
And then there's the Derek walking back and forth behind the dragon wall. Yeah,
the Tristana one.
Is that a dragon? You?
It was the Monte Cristo clip.
Oh no, I remember that.
You were getting chased, and then the whole team was like collapsing behind them, and then you jumped. Instead of jumping to the team, you jumped over the wall, and you couldn't auto.
And then I tried to run back in and died. I was like, oh shit.
And you got hit with the worst player award. But yeah.
Okay, that I actually claim was absolutely retarded. The other play was not retarded.
Alright, 2016, we'll quickly touch on this before Derek has to go. So Simo just takes a vacation, start of the year. We play with...
Why did he?
He went to South America. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to South America.
So we play with Liquid Cheese for like the first... I can't remember how many games. I think it's like 7 games we play with like Liquid Cheese. And that was probably the first split where we started having like a lot of issues. The regular split was really rough. Like he wouldn't wake up till 7 p.m.
Primarily,
like, obviously a lot of tension between Cheese and Sam, because Sam having worked with Simon for so long. But then Simo comes back. We had that Red Bull Bootcamp, which was pretty fun actually. Red Bull Bootcamp.
That was sick, yeah. And
then Simon just smurfs when we came back. Split 1 grand final rolls around. We play Legacy again. King gets banned. 2 finals in a row, and one of their players gets banned. That was actually a pretty sketchy series.
Yeah,
how did we go in the semis before that?
3-0 Sin.
We won the
So Sin and Legacy did that bootcamp together, remember? They did like the anti-Chiefs bootcamp, where like they bootcamp together, like literally just like to scrim each other, like practice with each other, and then we like 3-0 Sin anyway.
That was a pretty normal thing in O's, because there were like the finals prior to that, the other teams used to meet up. Even if their team wasn't in the final, they used to meet up to talk about how to draft against us.
We were very hated.
There was always like a counter that like beat the Chiefs like mentality.
Like the public community loved us, but the teams in the OPL like all just would have done anything to beat us. Like they just really wanted to see us fail, which is fine. It's competition.
Well, I think if they don't, then you're doing something wrong. I think if they all hate you and want to beat you, then you're doing something right, probably.
Yeah. So that.
But yeah, no, that was a rough. Honestly, we probably should have lost that final if it wasn't for Simon and Derek. I think like Simon coming back saved us, and then Derek really pushed us over the line in that 5th game. So
Simon fucking ran it down. like the first fucking 2 games, we just shit on them mid jungle, and like we just ran over the game. And then the third and fourth game, like the third game, I got Simon like fucking 3 frags, and he just ran in on LeBlanc. He just ran in on LeBlanc, died like 3 times, just fucking entered the game, and then Simon was tilted the rest of the series. Even up till game 5, he was playing Victor. I don't know if you guys remember.
I
But he was
remember.
playing Victor into Liss, and he got caught like he got caught like 4 or 5 times, and then Derek just fucking 1v9.
They banned.
Kalista
Oh wait,
end.
no, they didn't ban Kalista. Like
Um,
Kalista was like a big Derek champ, but it wasn't meta at the time,
Yeah.
right? Oh, it
Yeah.
was. It was.
It was meta. I think it
No,
was.
because they picked it.
it just-
they
it was coming
picked
off
it.
meta.
They picked it like
Yeah.
every game. Or like the 2 games before that, and then
Yeah.
it was up, and Derek was just like, because we won the first 2 games, we were like, nice, easy, it's done. Because Tally played Master Yi top or some shit like the second
Yeah, I
game.
was gonna touch
Tally
on that.
played Master Yi top the second
When-
game. It was just so free. And then he had the terrifying Fiora. We were like, yeah, we'll play Balkai
Tally-
TF
yeah.
into Fiora. We'll gank it and we'll kill him. And then
No, genuinely that season, like Tally was way better than me. He was probably like I think he was probably the best player in the region at that point, maybe with Derek, but he was like really carrying that team for a lot of their games. So, no, he was a scary one in the final.
Yeah, I remember Tally.
That year was when Aaron started falling off. Like Juju's fell
Yeah.
off that year, but then James.
I
was really
remember
good.
like when from like an ADC perspective, I remember like back in 2014, Choose would always be the one you have to look out for. Like he's the guy who dives in, kills the carry, just has that presence. And then when we play against Tally that series, he had that presence where he would just play like tank echo, but you just have to watch out for him every time. It just has so much pressure on you.
but then he
Yeah.
didn't TP,
Yeah.
and then Derek got the Penta kill.
Oh, he also
he
got
He
did
TP'd late. He
TP'd
TP'd
late.
really late because he was clearing top wave.
yeah.
Yeah. Brandon TP'd first, and then he TP'd like 5 seconds after. So props to Brandon for
Yeah,
TP'ing
'cause-
first. And then I remember he just like
I
I
would
remember like
say-
he just dived in like 4v1. I don't know how it ended. I remember he just dived in 4v1. Like I've watched that clip so many times, but he just dived in 4v1. I was just like, let's go. I think he just yelled at me. He was like, let's go.
Yeah, well,
let's go.
DOS was down like
Oh,
8
I-
million CS that entire series. So
Yeah, but he was still 6
Yeah,
items
true.
by the end of it. So
Yeah,
That was
Nautilus,
Nautilus,
yeah.
right?
yeah, you literally flashed over the wall, just ulted, and just ran straight in.
No, I might have some struggles in laning phase, boys, but I'll always be in the fights first.
The tank
That's
is just like runs
I'll
in. It's
always
like
be
let's do
there
it.
first.
I remember he was just chopping you down the whole game, but then you randomly.
It was
Yeah,
like 50
I
minutes. It
remember
was like
that,
50
yeah.
minutes into the game, yeah.
And then I knew the game was over. But I will say that James not TPing late after playing with James for 2 years is such a fucking like
Yeah.
classic.
It's his
game. Like,
strength.
he's the
it's
most
his
greedy
weakness,
fucking.
yeah.
He's the most greedy player.
I remember King. Yeah, King got banned that series as well. And I remember we were down so much like at the start. We were down like a few kills in the final game, like at the start. And then I remember looking back on it. There's one moment where like even though like I don't want to call Cardred call him out or anything or say, but like King was definitely a better player than him. And I remember like just having this moment where I looked at like CS and I had died and gotten ganked like 3 times, but he was somehow just like 40 CS behind me, and I thought, oh, if this was King, he would be even CS with me, and we would have lost the game. But like,
There was a
I think-
TP as well that someone called. I can't remember who it was. It was like a Lysandra TP flank.
It was
Yeah,
me.
that saved
it was
us.
me. It was like it was in top jungle, and I was like randomly like pathing to golems, and then I was like, what the fuck? And then I just saw like a random teleport, like I just walked into like Aaron TPing, and I just chunked him before he was gonna double kill our Derek and Bryce, and the game was just gonna be fucked. It was like super.
yeah,
lucky.
I
It was
remember
really
that. I
fortunate.
remember that. I actually, yeah, he TP flanked us,
Yeah.
and then after that, everything started turning around. And we started
Yeah.
winning the game.
all right, so Derek has to go. He has real life commitments, unlike the rest of us. So thanks for joining us during. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sort of showing your face and letting everyone in the community know you're still alive. Which I get a lot of questions from that. So yeah, dude, I appreciate it. I mean, if there's anything you want to
Good
say
to see you, Derek.
to everyone before you jet, yeah, hit him with it now.
Well, thank you all for still remembering me, if any of you still do. And if you're still playing League, good luck with your solo queue, good luck with your life. And yeah, it's just nice to come on. League was such a big part of my life. It's kind of cool to come back and just nestle into it for a bit, even for like 2
Alright,
hours.
I'm sure we'll see you around when you eventually like randomly hit Challenger every season and beat someone, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I just got beaten by Raydere." I swear that's happened once, like in the last at least once, like the last 3 years.
No, I come back and I'm in like low diamond, and they all keep asking me, "Is this the real Raydere? Why are you?
That's
why
so
are you
cool,
down here?"
man. That's so cool that like you haven't played for like how many years now, and you still get that every.
But they
game.
think I'm a phony because I'm in low diamond.
All right,
You're
see you,
an
dude.
icon,
Have a
dude.
good one.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
See you, Derek.
Bye.